My name is Ruanchichi. This story is about how I ended up in the 1970s after a very unusual series of events. I started out as a 26-year-old in the modern world, fresh out of 10 years in a mental hospital. Just when I was ready to enjoy my life, I died in the most ridiculous way, falling in a supermarket during a mad rush for rice. In the afterlife, I found out it was a mistake. The underworld workers messed up and took me instead of a grandma with my same name. But my body had already been cremated, so I couldn't go back. Not wanting to stay a ghost or reincarnate as an animal, I made a big fuss in the underworld until they caved and gave me perks to make up for it. That's how I ended up in the body of another woman in the 1970s, someone who'd just been dumped by her cheating fiancé and left with a mess of enemies. This poor girl had it rough. Her fiancé ditched her for a military commander's granddaughter, leaving her humiliated and vulnerable. Her neighbors and even her own relatives were ready to tear her apart. But I'm not her. I'm me. I promised the original owner of this body 3 things. I'd avenge her, protect the good people who helped her, and get into a good college. Fair deal, right? I woke up just in time to handle the jerk fiancé's breakup and decided to make a huge scene at his military base. If he thinks he can toss me aside and live happily ever after, he's got another thing coming. On my way there, I met a man named Lu Yi, a soldier. He's sharp, daring, and just as crazy as me. We're definitely cut from the same cloth. He caught on to my plan right away and even seemed excited to see what I'd do. I have a simple rule. If someone makes my life miserable, I'll ruin theirs. With my new life, my underworld perks, and my unshakable confidence, I'm ready to turn the tables on everyone who thought they could walk all over me. This is just the beginning. I've been through enough to know how to fight for what's right, even if it means causing a scene. When I first met Lu Yi, a soldier and the son of Commander Liu, I immediately sensed we were similar. Bold, a little crazy, and not afraid to shake things up. He caught on to my story quickly. My fiancé, He Jianjun, betrayed me, breaking his promise to be a live-in husband after my family helped his sick mother. Instead, he got engaged to Lu Hongling, the commander's granddaughter, and even threatened my family to stay silent. We went straight to Commander Lu's office. To grab his attention, I stood on a chair, pretending to hang myself with a belt. It was dramatic, sure, but it worked. The commander was furious when he realized his granddaughter and He Jianjun were involved. He promised to get to the bottom of it. When He Jianjun and Lu Hongling arrived, I didn't hold back. I called him a liar, a traitor, and reminded everyone how he'd taken money from my family and betrayed us. I even had proof, a written agreement stating he'd marry into my family in exchange for helping his mother. He thought his connection to Lu Hongling's powerful family would protect him, but I wasn't about to let him off the hook. Grabbing a bench, I made my anger known. He wanted to act like a big man in uniform, but I made sure he understood he couldn't trample on people without consequences. I'm not afraid to stand up for myself and make sure justice is served, no matter how much noise it takes. Sometimes, chaos is the only way to get justice. I wasn't going to let anyone trample on me. Not He Jianjun, not Lu Hongling, and definitely not the people who thought they could brush me off. When the fight broke out, I made my point loud and clear. He Jianjun had broken his promise, and I wasn't holding back as I taught him a lesson. Even though I aimed carefully to avoid real harm, he still looked like a complete mess. Honestly, it was embarrassing how easily I overpowered him, a soldier who supposedly earned a medal. His lack of fight made even Commander Lu question how he ever achieved his rank. Then there was Lu Hongling, rushing to defend him. I wasn't about to let her off either. She wanted to threaten me, calling me names and trying to intimidate me, but I fought back, both with my words and a swift kick. I even mocked her, pointing out that having a powerful grandfather doesn't make her royalty. Commander Liu and the others didn't stop me at first. They just watched, probably realizing I wasn't out of control. I was just letting off some well-deserved steam. Lu Yi, meanwhile, seemed thoroughly entertained, adding fuel to the fire with his snarky remarks. Honestly, he's my kind of person. Bold, a little reckless, and always ready to stir things up. When Lu Hongling started making a scene, claiming she was He Jianjun's real fiancé, I shut her down with cold, hard facts. I had a written agreement from He Jianjun promising to marry into my family after we helped his sick mother. It was signed, stamped, and clear as day. If they wanted to break it, the compensation was clear, 900 yuan. No one was getting out of that. Commander Liu and Political Commissar Mo agreed. The rules were the rules, and He Jianjun couldn't weasel his way out, no matter how much he tried to play dumb. When Commander Liu finally snapped and kicked him for lying, I knew I'd won. Sometimes, you have to fight fire with fire. They wanted to play dirty, but I wasn't about to let them walk away without facing the consequences. After all the chaos at the military office, I left satisfied. I'd made it clear to He Jianjun and Lu Hongling that they couldn't bully me. He tried to stall on paying the 900 yuan compensation, but I wasn't having it. I gave him 3 days to find the money, and if he didn't, I promised to return and cause more trouble. Louis offered to drop me off at the guest house and even help me get checked in. He handed me some ration tickets, which I needed since everything in the 1970s required them, even for a simple meal. I was starving, and my stomach growled loudly, but instead of being embarrassed, I simply said, hungry. Louis took me to the canteen, where I ordered white chili stir-fried with cured meat and spicy dried fish, my favorites. He added more dishes, like garlic sprouts with cured meat and lotus root soup. We ate like we hadn't seen food in days, finishing every last bite. The food in this era is so much better than in the future, fresh and full of flavor. Afterward, Louis even paid for everything and planned to get it reimbursed from his dad. That inspired me to order all the remaining lotus leaf rice and sugar oil cakes for takeaway, knowing it'd also be covered. Back at the guest house, I settled into my room, a single with its own bathroom and hot water. Compared to the rural conditions I came from, this felt luxurious. I washed up, did my laundry, and hung my patched-up clothes to dry. Seeing those worn-out clothes fluttering in the breeze, I couldn't help but sigh at how tough life in 1971 was, especially in the countryside. I hoped the space and perks promised by the underworld would activate soon. Having modern supplies would be a lifesaver. Then, as if answering my wish, my vision blurred, and suddenly I found myself back at the supermarket from the day of my accident. What could this mean? When I found myself in a familiar supermarket, I realized the underworld boss, Yan Jun, had truly gone all out. The place was packed with goods, rice, fresh food, snacks, and even household items, everything I could ever need. Even better, it wasn't just the supermarket. The whole street I loved in my past life was there, including my favorite tea shop, noodle shop, bakery, and more. It was surreal. As I explored, I found the biggest surprise at the end of the street, a massive warehouse filled with even more supplies, including meat, vegetables, and fruits in cold storage. There was so much food I'd never run out, even if I lived here forever. There was even a large plot of land I could use to grow crops, though honestly, farming isn't my thing. Suddenly, 9 glowing pills appeared in my hands. Yan Jun's voice echoed, saying they were resurrection pills that could bring someone back to life if their heart wasn't completely stopped. I now had 9 extra lives. Excited, I thanked him and maybe flirted a bit, but he ran off, refusing to respond.
Typical.
Back in my room at the guest house, things got stranger. I discovered my golden finger ability. I could communicate with plants. It started with a talkative ginkgo tree outside my window. At first, it overwhelmed me with gossip about long-dead people and scandalous affairs. Then it got useful, pointing me to buried treasure under a nearby camphor tree. Following its advice, I found a heavy ceramic jar filled with gold bars, almost 1 kilogram of pure gold. The tree was thrilled to finally have someone to talk to, but after a long day of digging, listening, and exploring, I needed rest. I tucked the gold away in my space and collapsed into bed, only to be woken at dawn by the ginkgo tree tapping persistently on my window. As I tried to ignore it, the guest house staff knocked on my door to tell me someone claiming to know He Jianjun had arrived. I knew it had to be Lu Hongba, another problem waiting to be dealt with. Time to face whatever came next. Lu Hongba is Lu Hongling's younger brother. He works as a delivery driver in a military factory. He relies on his grandfather being a commander. He works 3 days a week and rests 2 days a week. He also made friends with a group of playboys and did a lot of bad things. In the previous life, the original body was deceived by Lu Hongba and was harmed by those playboys. He Jianjun also instructed his family to spread rumors in Ruanjiawan, saying that she was having an affair in the city and had relationships with many men. In this era, being an adulterer is a capital crime. The original body couldn't stand the bullying of the villagers and didn't want to implicate her sister and younger sister, so she jumped into the river and committed suicide. Wan Qiqi promised the original body that she would avenge her. Since Lu Hongba came to her door, she would not be polite. She looked in the mirror. Her skin was so tender that it could be pinched out of water. She had big eyes, a perverted nose, and a cherry mouth. It was a soft and watery bun face, which was 70% similar to her in her previous life. Lu Hongba waited downstairs for a long time, but didn't see Wan Qiqi. He couldn't help but get angry. This village girl was too arrogant. However, he heard from his eldest sister that this village girl was pretty. It happened that he and his brothers had been away for a long time, and Wan Qiqi came at the right time. "Are you looking for me?" Wan Qiqi suddenly appeared in front of Lu Hongba like a ghost. Lu Hongba saw her face clearly, and his eyes flashed with surprise. This village girl was watery and fairer than the girls in the city. He was a little reluctant to share her with his brothers. "My grandfather is Commander Lu. He asked my sister to apologize to you. She is waiting for you in the hotel. I will pick you up." Lu Hongba looked quite decent, much prettier than his sister Lu Hongling, and always had a smile on his face. If you only looked at his appearance, you would think he was a good comrade. And he also brought up Commander Lu, and the reason was very sufficient. In the previous life, the original body was deceived in this way, followed Lu Hongba to the hotel, and then was harmed. "Okay." Wan Qiqi acted very shy and followed Lu Hongba timidly. Lu Hongba came by bicycle and he asked Wan Qiqi to sit on the back seat. "Tell me where the restaurant is and I'll take a bus there." Wan Qiqi refused to ride the bicycle, and her reason was very good. Men and women should not touch each other, and no matter what Lu Hongba said, she remained unmoved. But in fact, Wan Qiqi felt that the bicycle was too tight on her ace, and she hated Lu Hongba, and it was disgusting to ride a bicycle with him. Lu Hongba was so angry that he almost cursed, secretly cursing the village girl for being shameless, and when they got to the restaurant, she would have a hard time. "I'll take you to the bus." Lu Hongba was still smiling, but his eyes were much gloomier. "Thank you." Wan Qiqi thanked him embarrassedly, and her performance was not up to the standard at all. Lu Hongba looked disdainful. The elder sister also said that this village girl was arrogant and domineering, which was absolutely exaggerated, but he couldn't see it at all. She was just a country bumpkin who had never seen the world. After Wan Qiqi got on the bus, he rode away and first went to the private room of the restaurant. "Where's the girl?" There were 3 young men in green military uniforms in the private room. They were very unhappy to see Lu Hongba alone. "She'll be there in a while. This time the girl is absolutely beautiful. You should hide away first and don't let her see her," Lu Hongba said in a flattering tone. Among these playboys, his family background was the worst. These young men were all from large courtyards. Their parents were either military district cadres or government cadres. One of them had a father who was the deputy director of the Tanzhou City Tail Cutting Association. His parents were just factory workers. If he didn't have a commander grandfather, he wouldn't even have the qualifications to eat at the same table with these people. Can she be more beautiful than that capitalist lady? A man with a gloomy face smiled. His father was the deputy director of the Tail Cutting Association and the boss of this group of playboys. His name was Xiaojun. "It's definitely this village girl who is beautiful. When have I ever coaxed you?" Lu Hongba patted his chest and guaranteed. Xiaojun and the other two's eyes lit up. The last time, the eldest daughter of the capitalist was very pretty. They played with her for several days, but unfortunately, she jumped off the building. The three went to the empty room upstairs to play cards. One of them was the manager of this hotel, so the hotel was also a paradise for them to eat, drink, and have fun. Half an hour later, Wan Qiqi came late. Lu Hongba was waiting at the door of the hotel. Seeing her smiling, he led her to the private room. "Aren't you going to apologize? Why didn't Lu Hongling come?" Wan Qiqi asked deliberately. "My sister is working in the hospital. An urgent patient came in. I was delayed. I will come after I finish my work." Lu Hongba lied without changing his face, and his face looked very kind, which was particularly deceptive. In the previous life, the original body was confused by this good guy face and deceived so badly. Wan Qiqi sat down. "Let's order some food, I'm hungry." Lu Hongba went downstairs to order food, and when he came back, he had 2 bottles of soda in his hand. The lids were already opened, and straws were inserted. "The food will take a while, drink some soda first." Lu Hongba handed it to her. Wan Qiqi took the soda and was not in a hurry to drink it, but Lu Hongba was a little anxious and said with a smile, "You haven't had this in the countryside. It tastes very good. I have a bad stomach, and I get stomachache when I drink cold food." Wan Qiqi made up an excuse. "It's my fault for not asking in advance. I'll get some hot water." Lu Hongba ran downstairs actively and soon brought a large basin of hot water, asking Wan Qiqi to scald the soda. "Thank you, you are so kind." Wan Qiqi was very grateful. She put the soda into the hot water. After it was hot, she took a big sip and said with emotion, "It tastes so good." Lu Hongba was relieved and drank his soda. He was really thirsty after running around today, so he drank a bottle of soda in one breath. "I feel dizzy." Wan Qiqi held her head and lay weakly on the table. "Miss Wan?" Lu Hongba was overjoyed, thinking that Wan Qiqi's medicine had taken effect. A feeling of dizziness suddenly came over him, and he shook his head vigorously. It must be because he played too hard during this period and his body was damaged. After playing with this village girl, he had to get some tonic to make up for it. Wan Qiqi leaned on him weakly and let him help her upstairs. The 3rd floor was full of empty rooms. One of them was converted into a lounge by Lu Hongba and his friends, and many girls were harmed here. Lu Hongba felt his body getting hotter and hotter. He forced himself to help Wan Qiqi to the lounge and pushed the door open. The 3 people playing cards turned their heads and saw Wan Qiqi. Their eyes immediately lit up. She was indeed very pretty. Lu Hongba didn't try to fool them this time. "It's so hot." Lu Hongba's face was flushed with heat, and his eyes were full of spring water. The look he gave Shi Xiaojun and the others was more charming than a woman's. "What the Hades is wrong with you? Get out of the way." Shi Xiaojun rubbed the goosebumps on his arms, pushed Lu Hongba away, and reached out to take Wan Qiqi. The other 2 didn't come to grab her. Among their group, Shi Xiaojun's father had the highest official position, so every time there was a girl, Shi Xiaojun was the first one, and no one dared to compete with him. Shi Xiaojun, didn't notice that Wan Qiqi opened her eyes and had a handful of flour in her hand. Wan Qiqi threw flour at his face, and the flour covered his eyes. Shi Xiaojun became blind for a moment. The other 2 reacted and rushed over to catch her, but they threw more flour at him. All 3 of them became blind. They rubbed their eyes and cursed. Until then, they didn't realize that they were about to be in great trouble. Wan Qiqi didn't waste any words. She had a baseball bat in her hand and knocked the 3 people unconscious. Then she fed them 2 small blue pills each, which she got from the pharmacy in the space. She didn't feed Lu Hongba. There was medicine in the bottle of soda. She had swapped it in the private room before. "It's so hot. So hot." Jun brother Lu Hongba was already in a state of confusion. He just wanted to find something cool to cool down, so he hugged Shi Xiaojun, who was closest to him, and called him Jun brother in a roundabout way, more charming than a woman. Wan Qiqi shuddered a few times, feeling so nauseous. After more than 10 minutes, the drug effect in Shi Xiaojun and the other 2 took effect, and they woke up. Everyone's eyes were bloodshot, as if they wanted to eat people. Wan Chichi took out a bag of 5 spice melon seeds and ate them while watching the show. She liked watching this kind of eye-catching show the most. In this situation, it is appropriate to sing a song. The chrysanthemums are all over the ground. Your smile has turned yellow, and the flowers are falling, and people are heartbroken. Wan Chichi hummed. This song is very appropriate for the scene.
Ah,
Lu Hongba screamed incessantly. His expression was very painful, and there was a pool of blood under his body. Wan Chichi widened her eyes. Men can also bleed. I have learned a new knowledge. It's great. She bent down and took a look, and finally found the reason. It turned out that Lu Hongba had hemorrhoids. Wan Chichi sighed regretfully. She thought men also had membranes. The drug effect of Xiaojun and the other two had not yet dissipated. There were 2 small blue pills. It was estimated that they could last for another hour. Wan Chichi was tired and prepared to go back to the guest house. She glanced at the 4 people who were eye-catching, opened the door, and walked out. Just as she reached the stairwell, she bumped into Lu Yi, who came hurriedly. Are you okay? Lu Yi's tone was very anxious, but he was relieved when he saw that Wan Chichi's clothes and hair were very neat, and her mood was normal. He just found out that Lu Hongba, the little rascal, actually went to the guest house to look for Wan Chichi, so he hurried over. Fortunately, the girl was fine. It's okay, do you want to watch the show? Wan Chichi blinked and showed a mysterious smile. Lu Yi in the previous life also came, but the original body had been harmed. Lu Yi severely taught Lu Hongba and the other for a lesson. Xiaojuan's legs were broken and Lu Hongba was almost beaten to death. Lu Yi wanted to report to the police, but the original body was afraid of rumors and asked him to keep it secret, so Lu Yi had to agree. But they all underestimated the evil of the evil. Xiaojuan's father was the deputy director of the Cut-Tail Society, his uncle was the leader of the military region, and he was the only son of the 2 families. He was beaten by Lu Yi, and the Shi family held a grudge and retaliated 3 years later, causing Lu Yi to suffer a serious head injury. Once stimulated, he would go crazy and hurt people. 5 years later, Lu Yi committed suicide. These were all what the original body saw with his own eyes after becoming a ghost. The original body hated the viciousness of these people, and also hated himself for being too weak, which implicated Lu Yi, so he gave the opportunity of rebirth to Wan Chichi, who had made the underworld a mess, hoping that she could fulfill her regrets. Lu Yi had heard the sound coming from the room. Although he had never eaten pork, he had seen pigs run. His ears turned red, and he became curious. Since Wan Chichi was safe and sound, who was in the room? Did Lu Hongba harm other girls? No woman. Wan Chichi saw what he was thinking and pulled him away. Lu Yi's palms were fragrant and soft, as if he had been electrocuted. His heartbeat accelerated uncontrollably, thumping happily. His ears became redder and redder. His eyes only dared to look straight ahead, and he walked like he was flying in the clouds. Are you nervous? Wan Chichi felt the sweat on his palms, which was getting more and more, so he asked directly. No, it's too hot. Lu Yi quickly pulled his hand back and wiped the sweat from his forehead. His expression was relatively calm, but his ears were unusually red. Wan Chichi took a look and secretly laughed. Men nowadays are really good at observing male ethics. At the age of 25, they are still like elementary school kids. The door was ajar and opened with a push, revealing the scene inside the room. Wan Chichi clicked her tongue. Lu Hongba was bleeding and almost in shock. Lu Yi was shocked at first sight, then disgusted, and then followed Wan Chichi to watch the show and ate some melon seeds. How did you do it? Lu Yi's curiosity was overflowing. He knew too well how beastly people like Xiaojun were. Wan Chichi was not only able to escape, but also to turn the tables. He was really curious about how it was done. I fed her some breeding medicine. Wan Chichi told the truth. Lu Yi was amused and gave her a thumbs up. After eating the last melon seed, he asked with a smile, "Do you want to see a bigger show?" "Yes." Wan Chichi nodded excitedly. Lu Yi picked up a torn shirt from the ground, took out a lighter and lit it. The shirt was made of dacron, and it caught fire at once. He threw the burning clothes under the curtains and pulled Wan Chi downstairs. Soon, thick smoke came out of the window on the third floor. "It's terrible. There's a fire. People are going to burn to death," Louis shouted in a hoarse voice. The first floor of the hotel was the lobby, and there were many people eating. They were all scared and ran out. But soon, many enthusiastic people came to help. Everyone ran to the third floor with water and kicked the door open. In the billowing smoke, they saw an unforgettable scene in their lives, and then turned back in unison. "Let's put out the fire first. Don't let it burn too big," someone suggested, and everyone agreed unanimously. So, everyone rushed into the room to put out the fire. Only the curtains were on fire, which was not a big problem. A few basins of water put it out. They looked at the four people in the melee in silence. After a few minutes, someone said, "It seems to be the son of Deputy Director Sher. He often comes here to eat." Everyone was excited, and they identified the other three people one by one. The eyes of the crowd were sharp, and soon, the identities of Lu Hongba and the other two were also recognized. At this time, many people crowded downstairs of the hotel, all of whom came to put out the fire. Wan Chi and Lu Yi mixed in the crowd. "Your nephew is having an affair. Aren't you afraid of being implicated?" Wan Chi asked. "They can't implicate me," Lu Yi said in a nonchalant tone. Wan Chi was relieved, and she would retaliate against Lu Hongling's family more cruelly in the future. Lu Hongba and the other four were carried out, covered with tablecloths, with nothing underneath. There was no way, their clothes were torn and couldn't be worn. A gust of wind blew over at the right time. The spring breeze in March was very considerate, and it lifted the tablecloths on the four people, and the tablecloth on Lu Hongba was blown to the ground by the wind. His bruised body was exposed to the eyes of the public. "He ate gunpowder and his hemorrhoids exploded?" someone said loudly, causing a burst of laughter, and everyone's expression was meaningful. Lu Hongba and the other four were sent to the hospital, and the crowd at the entrance of the hotel dispersed. Seeing these people's excited and gossipy expressions, it was obvious that the people of Tanzhou City would have something to talk about after dinner in the next few days. Lu Yi sent Wan Chi back to the guest house and invited her to have lunch. "Can it be reimbursed?" Wan Chi asked. "Yes."
چند سمیلت.
Last night, he went to the old man and not only reimbursed the meal money, but also advanced a lot of hospitality funds. If Lu Hongling hadn't relied on your power, would she dare to hook up with someone else's fiancé? Wan Chi would not have come to the city. In the final analysis, you are the culprit. If you don't pay, who will? That's what he said. The old man was almost so angry that he vomited blood, but he still paid the money and asked him to treat Wan Chi well and not to let her down. Louis found it ironic that the old man always boasted that the military and the people were one family, but he could not restrain Lu Chuancao's family from bullying others. Every time something happened, it was thunder and thunder, but no rain. The reason was that he did not fulfill his responsibility to raise Lu Chuanchao and felt guilty. "You didn't raise me either. Why don't you feel guilty towards me?" Every time the old man said this, he would say this, but the answer he got was even more infuriating. "You are a man, it's different." The old man said it nonchalantly, as if men were born to be raised in idleness. Louis felt suffocated and had no place to vent, so he cut up his two-faced stepmother's garden again last night, and then he felt better. Wan Chi felt that the man next to her was in a bad mood. She was very sensitive to people's emotional changes. She didn't ask because she was not that familiar with Lu Yi. Pork blood cake fried with garlic sprouts, spicy fried dried fish, stir-fried beef, and 3 bowls of rice. Wan Chi ordered 3 dishes. In fact, she wanted to eat preserved eggs with pounded peppers, but there were no fresh peppers in March. She had quite a few in her space, but she couldn't take them out, and she was too lazy to make them herself. Pork blood cake. The image is not good-looking, but it tastes good. Pork blood cake fried with garlic sprouts, and the dishes to go with the rice are local chicken soup, stir-fried vegetables, and 5 bowls of rice. Lu Yi also ordered dishes. The waiter recognized them and asked with a smile if they wanted an invoice. No need. Louis paid for the money and the tickets. He had saved a lot from the old man last night, enough for a month's restaurant bill. It was only natural for a son to spend his father's money. He would not pretend to be noble and let his stepmother and Lu Chunchao take advantage of him. Lu Chunchao was Lu Hongling's mother and his half-sister, a vain, selfish, vicious, and stupid woman. The two sat down to eat. The chef of this canteen was really good. Every dish was spicy and fragrant. Wan Qiqi was eating so much that sweat broke out on her forehead and her mouth turned red from the spiciness, but she couldn't stop. She added another bowl of rice and mixed it with the plate of dried fish. Louis saw that she liked dried fish, so he gave her the whole plate. Wan Qiqi shoveled rice into her mouth in big mouthfuls and ate very happily. Lu Yi was infected by her and also added a bowl of rice and poured the rest of the dishes together with the rice to eat. Is this Lu Hongling's order today? Wan Qiqi finished her meal, burped with satisfaction, and asked about the business. Yeah. Lu Yi did not deny that Lu Hongling was just like her mother, stupid and vicious. Are you really her uncle? Wan Qiqi still didn't believe it. How could there be such a big difference between uncle and nephew? Her mother, and I don't have the same mother. I look like my mother.
روی پلاینت.
Although he didn't have a good relationship with his mother, he was still glad that he looked like his mother. If he looked like the old man, he would be as ugly as Lu Hongling. Wan Qiqi understood that it was normal for Lu Disheng to get married twice. No. She remembered that the original body said that Lu Yi had a stepmother who liked to sow discord, so their father-son relationship was so bad. Is your mother still alive? Wan Qiqi asked very honestly. She is very strong and gave me a half-sister. Lu Yi looked self-deprecating. His father had his own home, and his mother had her own home. Neither side was his home. Wan Qiqi patted him on the shoulder and comforted him. Think positively. At least you are better looking than them. That's right, you won't eat lotus leaf rice today? Lu Yi couldn't help laughing. He felt that chatting with Wan Qiqi was becoming more and more interesting. Their brainwave frequencies were very close. She could understand what he said, and he could understand what she said. Thinking that Wan Qiqi would go back to the countryside in the future, he felt a little reluctant.
Eat.
Wan Qiqi decisively packed up the remaining 8 lotus leaf rices, and Lu Yi also packed up the remaining 20 sugar-coated cakes, and then the two happily divided them equally. 3 days passed quickly, and Wan Qiqi went to the military district to ask for money. This time the guards did not stop her and let her go directly. She went to Lu Disheng's office with ease, knocked on the door, entered the room, and sat down. Lu Disheng was in a bad mood. His grandson Lu Hongba's chrysanthemums were all broken, and he had more than a dozen stitches. He is still in the hospital. The news that Lu Hongba and Shi Xiaojun had an affair had spread all over Tanzhou City. Everyone knew that his grandson was a rabbit god, and he had lost all his face. Moreover, Lu Hongba and the other 4 had an affair in a group, and being seen by so many people had an extremely bad impact. When the 4 of them were discharged from the hospital, they had to go to the farm for reform. For Lu Disheng, who always valued his reputation, Lu Hongba's incident was like a dogskin plaster on his beautiful resume, which made him feel very depressed. He forced a smile and said kindly, I'll call He Jianjun and ask him to pay back the money. Thank you, Commander Lu. You are really a good cadre of the people. Wan Qiqi praised sincerely. The old man's face was almost as black as ink. Just say a few nice words to coax him. Sure enough, Lu Disheng's dark face instantly eased and his smile deepened. He knew that the people's eyes were sharp. After dialing the phone, he shouted, Let He Jianjun come over immediately and bring the money. An hour later, He Jianjun arrived, running out of breath. Lu Disheng frowned. His suspicion deepened. With his physical condition, he didn't look like someone who could make meritorious service. He had already sent people to investigate. If it was really He Jianjun who falsely claimed military merit, he would never let this rascal off. Wan Qiqi's mouth curled up. The old man must be suspecting that He Jianjun's third-class merit was robbed, or that Lu Hongling helped him rob it. Lu Disheng would find out soon. With his dominance, he would definitely force Lu Hongling to break up. So, she had to add fuel to the fire and tie Lu Hongling and He Jianjun together completely. The 900 yuan is all here. He Jianjun took out a stack of money from his trouser pocket. Many of them were new bills, obviously just withdrawn from the bank. Wan Chichi took the money and counted it 3 times. Here's the money, you have to give it to me, the clerk. He Jianjun looked very unhappy. This money was borrowed from Lu Hongling's mother, and he would pay it back slowly by deducting 20 yuan every month in the future. He had misjudged this with Wan Chichi and thought she was a coward, but he didn't expect that she would bite such a big piece of his flesh. Wan Chichi took out the document happily, and He Jianjun snatched it and tore it into pieces, and he felt relieved. Although he lost 900 yuan, he is now a platoon leader with a monthly salary of 54 yuan. If he deducts 20 yuan a month, he can pay it back in 4 years. Moreover, he has clung to Commander Lu's thigh, and he will surely rise rapidly in the future. His salary will only get higher and higher, and maybe he can pay it back in less than 4 years. He Jianjun, I wish you a baby soon. Wan Chichi blessed with a smile. He Jianjun's face changed drastically, cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he cursed. What nonsense are you talking about? Hongling and I are innocent. Your mother said that your girlfriend is pregnant. Your mother even asked someone to calculate that your girlfriend is definitely pregnant with a son. Your mother has shown off in front of me many times. Otherwise, why would I come to make trouble? Wan Chichi snorted coldly and rolled her eyes. Lu Disheng's face was darker than the bottom of a pot. He believed Wan Chichi. Hongling, this idiot, was fooled by He Jianjun's sweet words and got her belly big. He really wanted to kill this rascal. He didn't have a good impression of He Jianjun at all, nor did he have a good impression of his family. He was showing off everywhere in the village before he got married, without caring about his reputation at all. The He family had very bad character, and Hongling must not marry into the family. The door was suddenly pushed open with force. It was the angry Lu Hongling. You dare to come? You hurt my brother so badly. I will beat you to death. Lu Hongling pounced on Wan Chichi with her teeth bared. She had a good relationship with Lu Hongba, and Lu Hongba was harmed by Wan Chichi just to vent her anger. Her brother was sad in the hospital, but Wan Chichi, this witch, dared to come to get the money. She must teach this witch a lesson and avenge Hongba. What did I do to your brother? He came to the guest house to find me and said he wanted to treat me to a meal to apologize. I went to the restaurant with him, but I only drank a bottle of soda, and then your brother went crazy. When he saw a man, he pounced on him and kissed and touched him and even pulled off his clothes. I am from the countryside and have never seen the world. This kind of thing is too terrible, so I ran away. Was your brother beaten up? If I say he was beaten well, then suddenly a crazy man came out and kissed and touched him, who wouldn't be angry. Wan Chichi spread her hands and sighed helplessly. You drugged them, don't try to quibble. Lu Hongling roared. Hongba had told her that it was this witch who drugged him and harmed him so badly. What medicine did I use? Rat poison or cockroach poison? Wan Chichi ran in front, and Lu Hongling chased her from behind. The two of them circled in Lu Disheng's office like a cat playing with a mouse. You gave Hongba an aphrodisiac. Lu Hongling blurted out. Lu Lisheng's face looked very ugly. It turned out that Hongba was drugged and was ruined by Shi Xiaojun and the other two. There was a fierce flash in his eyes, and he looked at Wan Chichi. Wan Chichi didn't care about his eyes at all and asked Lu Hongling, Excuse me, where did I get the medicine? The restaurant was booked by your brother, and I didn't know he would come to see me. Could I have predicted it in advance and prepared the aphrodisiac early? That medicine was supposed to be taken by you, but you replaced it for Hongba. Lu Hongling blurted out in anger. Wan Chichi's face changed and asked, So Lu Hongba came to me not to apologize, but to drug me to harm me. You know so clearly, it must be you and He Jianjun who instructed you. You hate me for 900 yuan and want to destroy my innocence. You are too vicious. She picked up a stool and shouted, I will never reconcile with you. Then she rushed up and smashed He Jianjun's head. The scumbag had not healed his old wounds yet, and he had new wounds. His head was covered in blood. The noise in the room was too loud, attracting many people, all crowded at the door to watch. Mo Chiufeng also came and stopped Ruan Qiqi. Political Commissar Mo, they are so bad. They deliberately said they would apologize to me and tricked me into going to the restaurant for dinner, but they put drugs in the soda. Fortunately, God opened his eyes and let Lu Hongba drink the drugged soda. If I drank it, would I still be alive? It was obviously they who did the wrong thing first. They had an affair with me, and they are sorry for it. I asked for 900 yuan according to the document. Why do they bully me like this? Can the commander's granddaughter hurt people at will? I'm still a poor peasant. You are officials, I can't beat you. Well, I'm going to die here today. Ruan Qiqi cried and complained. Lu Disheng's face looked uglier than he had eaten. Lu Hongling was so scared that she didn't dare to do anything again. She had realized that she had committed a heinous crime, and her grandfather would definitely not forgive her. He Jianjun was completely stunned. He didn't know that Lu Hongba had drugged her. Ruan Qiqi wiped her tears and hit the wall with a determined look.
No.
He Jianjun reacted quickly and rushed over to stop Ruan Qiqi. If this witch really died here, he would never be able to turn over in his life. Lu Hongling also reacted and rushed over to hug Ruan Qiqi. Ruan Qiqi symbolically struggled a few times, pretending to grab her hand accidentally, and suddenly looked stunned and blurted out, "You are 3 months pregnant." As soon as these words came out, the office instantly became quiet. Lu Hongling looked panicked and a little shy. He Jianjun next to her was frightened and quickly scolded, "Ruan Qiqi, you are talking nonsense. Hongling and I are innocent. How could you be pregnant? Yes, we are innocent. Don't try to ruin our reputation." Lu Hongling also reacted and scolded righteously. Lu Disheng's face was blacker than charcoal. He knew his granddaughter well. He saw Lu Hongling's expression before. Obviously, this idiot and He Jianjun must be having an affair. Disperse. What does it look like to block here? Mo Chiufeng's stern voice came in, and the people blocking the door dispersed, and Lu Disheng's expression eased a little. If you have something to say, let's talk nicely. Don't shout. It will have a bad impact. Mo Chiufeng walked in, followed by Lu Xiaoyi. Close the door. Mo Chiufeng said gently, but Lu Yi ignored him, strode in, and sat on the sofa. Mo Chiufeng was not angry, and went to close the door by himself. His usually gentle face became very stern, and his sharp eyes made He Jianjun sweat coldly, and Lu Hongling didn't dare to look at him. Ruan Qiqi curled her lips, thinking that Mo Chiufeng was a good man without temper, but it turned out to be a black-bellied fox. Sure enough, no one who can get to a high position is easy to mess with. She rolled her eyes at He Jianjun and said sarcastically, "I didn't say that the baby in Lu Hongling's belly is yours. Why are you in such a hurry? You are not the only man in Tanzhou. Don't slander me. I have only been with Jianjun." Lu Hongling was furious. This witch dared to throw dirty water in front of her. How hateful. "So, you have only slept with He Jianjun?" Ruan Qiqi answered quickly, without giving Lu Hongling time to think. Sure enough, Lu Hongling said, "Of course." Before she finished speaking, she realized that something was wrong. This witch dared to set a trap for her. She was so angry that she rushed towards Ruan Qiqi and screamed, "Witch, I will beat you to death. I'm not as cheap as you. You sleep with a man before getting married. Your bones are lighter than straw. You are shameless. Why are you chasing me? I didn't ask you to sleep with He Jianjun. Run slower, or the baby in your belly will jump out. Don't disbelieve it. My father is a barefoot doctor. I took your pulse. It's been at least 2 months, and the fetus is not stable yet. Don't blame me if you miscarry." Ruan Qiqi ran very easily, and made a few sarcastic remarks from time to time, which made Lu Hongling crazy. She chased after her, with red eyes. She must kill this witch today. He Jianjun tried to shrink his neck to reduce his presence, but Lu Disheng's eyes seemed to want to kill him. He stared at him, making him feel uneasy and frightened. "Stop." Lu Disheng stood in front of Lu Hongling and shouted angrily. Lu Hongling didn't brake and crashed into him hard. Because of inertia, she took several steps back and then sat on the ground.
Ouch.
It hurts. Lu Hongling screamed and covered her stomach with her hands. Her face was pale, and she looked very painful. Wan Qiqi hurriedly shouted, "It's not my fault for the miscarriage. I told her not to chase her, but she wouldn't listen." Miss Ruan, talk less. Mo Qiufeng frowned slightly, looking a little dissatisfied. He could see that Wan Qiqi was a person who was afraid of chaos in the world. She was quick-witted and thick-skinned. Playing with Lu Hongling was like a cat playing with a mouse. "Then I'm leaving. By the way, are He Jianjun and Lu Hongling considered hooligans? If it were in our Ruanjiawan, she would definitely be arrested and paraded through the streets, and a sign with the words would be hung on her." Wan Qiqi didn't care about Lu Dishing's ugly face at all, and kept talking to herself. He Jianjun was so scared that he trembled and hurriedly explained, "I didn't act like a hooligan. It was Lu Hongling who took the initiative. If you, a grown man, really didn't want to, could Lu Hongling still force you? He Jianjun, you are so irresponsible. You pulled up your pants and refused to admit it. You are so shameless. Fortunately, I divorced you." Wan Qiqi spat at him fiercely, not hiding her contempt.
Giggle.
It was the sound of Lu Dishing biting his back teeth. He almost broke his teeth. "You rascal." Lu Dishing swung his arm and hit him hard. He Jianjun was thrown several meters away and hit the wall hard. The pain made him unable to straighten his waist. "Send Hongling to the hospital first. Stop making noise."
Montag Kiefengspoke.
Lu Hongling on the ground was not in a good condition. Her face was pale. She had to be rushed to the hospital. Lu Dishing immediately looked at Lu Yi. Before he could speak, Lu Yi dragged Wan Qiqi out. "I'm taking a break today." He didn't want to send Lu Hongling to the hospital. It was none of his business. He would be happy if she died. "Why are you here to rest?" Lu Dishing was almost mad and roared, "Come and watch the fun." Lu Ye's tone was rude. He didn't worry about making the old man angry. After all, under his training over the years, the old man's body was much stronger, and he would definitely not be angry to death. "Don't go, you rascal. Stop right there. I'm the boss and you're the boss?" Lu Dishing's scolding was chasing from behind, and he threw a cloth shoe at him. Lu Yi listened to the wind and determined the position. He slightly turned his body to avoid the cloth shoe. "If I had a choice, I don't want you to be my boss." Lu Yi turned around and said coldly. Lu Dishing fell silent. Guilt flashed in his eyes. His lips moved a few times, and finally, he just sighed. "Xiaoyi, it was a time of war, and we had to send you to someone else for foster care. Your father had a narrow escape in the war and almost died several times. You are too much." Mo Qiufeng's tone was very stern, and his eyes became disappointed when he looked at Lu Yi. "Don't be a good person here. Similarly, I don't want to choose your cousin, wife, as my mother. You have no right to blame me because I grew up begging." Lu Yi sneered a few times and was just as rude to Mo Qiufeng. After that, he opened the door. There were a few people crowded at the door. They didn't have time to leave, so they smiled awkwardly and quickly dispersed. Wan Qiqi was dragged by him. This guy had very big steps. For every one he took, she had to run 2 steps. He made her very tired. She could see that Lu Yi was in a bad mood, so she didn't dare to speak and ran silently. Finally, he stopped. Wan Qiqi breathed a sigh of relief. She was so tired. She glanced a few times and realized that Lu Yi didn't seem so angry anymore, so she asked the question in her heart, "Is your mother the cousin of political commissar Mo?" Just now she heard clearly that Lu Yi said he didn't want to choose Mo Qiufeng's wife as his mother. So, Lu Ye's mother married Mo Qiufeng. No wonder the relationship between Lu Dishing and him seems weird. "Well, my father received an order to retreat urgently. My mother was pregnant, and it was inconvenient to retreat, so she hid in the home of a fellow villager. Before I was a month old, my mother sent me to the home of a fellow villager and went to chase my father. But she heard that my father was sacrificed. When I was 1 year old, she married Mo Qiufeng. When I was 2 years old, My father married a stepmother. Lu Ye's tone was very calm when he talked about the past, but his fists were clenched tightly, and it was obvious that he was not calm in his heart. Are the fellow villagers who raised you good to you? Wan Qiqi asked. Not good or bad. When I was half a year old, they thought I was too greedy and sent me to another family. When I was 1 year old, I was sent again. I forgot how many times I was sent in the middle. When I was 3 years old, I lived on my own, begging from the east and west, and then going to the mountains to find game. I lived a good life. Lu Yi smiled self-deprecatingly. Because of his magical experience, he had memories when he was 2 years old. He remembered many things very clearly, including the suffering he had suffered. He still remembers it clearly until now, so he's been complaining because he can't forget it. Your experience proves the truth. Wan Qiqi's tone was like a philosopher, which aroused Lu Ye's interest and asked, What truth? Wildly growing creatures are the excellent species selected by nature. Wan Qiqi's tone was unfathomable, and she stood on tiptoe and patted Lu Yi on the shoulder. Congratulations, you are an excellent person certified by nature. Lu Yi was stunned for a moment, then laughed out loud. Tears came out of his eyes, and his mood inexplicably improved. Wan Qiqi has such magical power that her words can touch his heart and make him happy physically and mentally. Now he is really reluctant to let this girl go back to her hometown. Have you been to Yuelu Mountain? He asked after he had laughed enough. Wan Qiqi shook her head, feeling a little excited. In her previous life, she had climbed Yuelu Mountain many times, but she had never climbed Yuelu Mountain in the 1970s. She wanted to go. Let us go climb the mountain. Lu Yi was in high spirits and dragged her away. Lu Yi didn't drive today. He rode a bicycle, and Wan Qiqi sat in the back seat of the car. Lu Yi went to the dormitory first and took the camera. The two rode all the way to the ferry. The Xiangjiang Bridge had not been built at that time, so the only way to cross the river was to take a ferry. Lu Yi went to buy a ticket, which cost 4 cents per person. Because it was the dry season, you only had to take the bus to Jizizu Island and then take the temporary bridge to Heshi. If you take the bus to Heshi, it would cost 8 cents. Jizizu Island Bridge was built in 1972. The temporary bridge, Yuelu Mountain, is in Heshi. It was the first time for Wan Qiqi to take a ferry. In fact, there were ferries in her previous life, but they were mostly used to see the scenery. She had never taken one. Standing on the ferry, she looked left and right and felt that Jizizu Island seemed to be different from her previous life. Everything was new. Do you want to take a picture? Lu Yi asked with a smile. Okay. Wan Qiqi nodded and wanted to lean on the railing to take a picture, but there were many people crowded beside the railing. She said to a young man who looked kind, Comrade, we are all from all corners of the country, and we have come together for a common revolutionary goal. All people in the revolutionary team must care for each other, love each other, and help each other. Can you let me go? I want to take a picture. Before coming to Tanzhou, she took out the energy of the high school entrance examination and memorized a long section of quotations. Now she must recite quotations when she goes out, otherwise she will be caught by the braid. The young man glanced at Lu Yi in military uniform and immediately stood up straight. Like an oath, he read aloud. The army and the people are united as one. Let's see who can defeat them. Comrades, please come over here. After that, he stood aside and gave them the position on the railing. Thank you, comrade. Wan Qiqi thanked sincerely, leaned on the railing, and posed casually to enjoy the river view. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Lu Yi took photos very quickly and finished them in just 2 or 3 shots. Wan Qiqi gave up her position at the railing to the young man. When they arrived at Jizizu, the two got off the ferry and walked across the temporary bridge. Heshi has been a prosperous business district since ancient times. The people of Tanzhou call this part of Heshi the town of Xianwan. The word Su is pronounced as ing with the second tone, but the people of Tanzhou pronounce it as rong, which is very interesting. There are 3 famous universities in Heshi: Wuhan University of Technology, and Beijing Normal University. In her previous life, Wan Qiqi wanted to go to Wuhan University and her grades were definitely no problem, but it was a pity that she went to a mental hospital to attend college. I want to go to Wuhan University to take photos. Wan Qiqi sighed softly, a little melancholy. She was not nostalgic for her previous life, but just a little regretful. In this life, she had to find a way to make her dream come true. Want to go to Wuhan University? Lu Yi saw what she was thinking.
Yeah.
Wan Qiqi did not deny it. Did you go to high school? Yes, I had good grades when I was in school. Wan Qiqi was talking about the original self, who did have a high school diploma. Hunan province still attaches great importance to education. Although the original self was a daughter, her father was a barefoot doctor, and her family was well off. The original self and her sister both attended high school. Lu Yi smiled. Hunan University is accepting workers, peasants, and soldiers as students. Your brigade should have recommended places. He didn't say the rest. As long as Wan Qiqi was on the recommendation list, he could get her into Hunan University. I'll go back and think of a way. Wan Qiqi nodded. This year's workers, peasants and soldiers had already been recommended, and she would have to wait until next year. She had a year to prepare, so it was still in time. If you have any difficulties, you can contact me. Lu Yi carried a pen and a note with him. He wrote down the contact information and handed it to Wan Qiqi. Okay. Wan Qiqi admired his handwriting, which was as wild as he was. She put the note into her pocket, but actually put it into her space. The two went to HUSD first. On the way, Lu Yi also bought sister dumplings. Wan Qiqi liked to eat them in her previous life. The best ones were from Huagongdian. She liked meat fillings and Lu Yi loved sweets. Wan Qiqi only ordered 2 dumplings. Today's snacks are really good and taste quite good. Sister dumplings. Lu Yi held the bridle of the bicycle with one hand and chewed the dumplings with the other hand. He rode steadily. When they finished eating, they had already arrived at HUSD. The most famous legend of HUSD is that there is no gate. In fact, HUSD really has no gate. The campus is very large, but there is no gate. Wan Qiqi walked around HUSD and took pictures. She also went to Gongda and took pictures at the gate of Gongda. Lu Yi said that he would send them back to her after they were developed. Behind Gongda is Yuelu Mountain, with many small paths leading up the mountain. Lu Yi parked the car on the campus and took her up the mountain by the small path. Gongda is the predecessor of Central South University. Formerly known as Gongda. Yuelu Mountain is not high, but it has beautiful scenery and great historical and cultural significance because this mountain is related to 2 great men. They first arrived at Iwan Pavilion, which is the pavilion where Chairman Mao and Mr. Kai studied when they were young. A little further from Iwan Pavilion is the world-famous Yuelu Academy, and further from the academy is a 1,000-year-old temple. Wan Qiqi took photos at every scenic spot, just like checking in the previous life. It doesn't matter whether you play or not, but taking photos and posting them on WeChat Moments is a must. The two walked around the mountain and finished shooting a roll of film before going down the mountain. Still taking the ferry across the river, Lu Yi sent Wan Qiqi back to the guest house, and he was going to the hospital to see the excitement. Remember to call me, don't forget. Wan Qiqi made a phone gesture by her ear to remind him. She also wanted to know if Lu Hongling's cub had fallen, and whether Lu Hongba's chrysanthemum was broken.
No.
Lu Yi left excitedly. When he passed by a fruit store, he saw a basket of processed fruits at the door. They were sold very cheaply. He hesitated for a few seconds, but finally couldn't bear to buy them. He went to the hospital empty-handed. He asked the nurse about Lu Hongling's situation. She was lucky. She didn't lose the baby after all the trouble. She just had a miscarriage and needed to rest for a few days. He went to the obstetrics and gynecology hospital building where Lu Hongling lived in a single room. Lu Desheng was not there. He probably couldn't save his face and left in shame. The door of the ward was closed, but the soundproofing was not very good. The scolding of his stupid elder sister Lu Chunchao and the crying of Lu Hongling could be heard. We can't keep this child. We must get rid of it. Mom will find you another partner. That loser, He Jianjun, won't work. I won't take it. I want He Jianjun. None of the men you found can compare to He Jianjun. Lu Hongling cried and was very determined. She was determined to marry He Jianjun. Lu Chunchao was so angry that she vomited blood, but she could not do anything about her daughter. Lu Hongling was her first child and had suffered a lot with her, so she was particularly partial to her eldest daughter. Although she was very angry, Lu Chunchao softened her attitude and agreed to let Lu Hongling marry He Jianjun. "Mom, you are so nice. You go and talk to Grandpa." Lu Hongling burst into laughter and acted coquettishly to let Lu Chunchao persuade Lu Disheng. "I really owe you. Since you insist on marrying He Jianjun, the marriage must be completed quickly. It will be ugly if your belly gets big." Lu Chuansao's tone was reproachful. Even though she didn't like He Jianjun, she couldn't stop her daughter from liking him. Besides, He Jianjun was now a platoon leader. If she went to her father and cried and begged, her father would surely be soft-hearted, and it would not be difficult for He Jianjun to get promoted. Lu Chunchao had no doubt about her position in Lu Disheng's heart. She was the eldest daughter and had suffered so much. Her father felt particularly guilty about her. As long as the request was not too excessive, her father would satisfy it. Lu Yi listened at the door for a few minutes, with a sneer on his lips. He did not enter the ward and left directly. Since Lu Hongling insisted on being tied to He Jianjun's crooked neck tree, he would fulfill his stupid niece's wish. He would give the evidence of He Jianjun stealing other people's credit to the old man after they got married. Lu Chunchao wanted to kill him all those years ago. He was already a very kind uncle because he didn't kill Lu Hongling. He thought about it, a sly smile appeared on his lips. He rode his bike to the fruit shop and took out those skinned fruits. After buying all the processed bananas covered with sesame spots, he rode back to the hospital and went to Lu Hongba's ward. Lu Hongba was seriously injured physically and mentally, and he looked listless. Lu Yi didn't waste any words and directly fed his nephew bananas. Lu Hongba refused to eat, so he forced it into his mouth. He forced all the processed bananas into his mouth, a total of 6, and Lu Hongba choked and rolled his eyes. 10 minutes later, Lu Hongba's expression became strange. He wanted to endure it, but he couldn't help it. He had to endure the severe pain in his ace and moved to the bathroom with difficulty. After Lu Hongba almost fainted from the pain. The wound on his ace that had just been sutured opened again, and blood was all over his stool. Lu Yi covered his nose and admired it at the door of the bathroom for a long time before leaving with satisfaction. Wan Qiqi originally planned to return to her hometown, but Lu Yi said that there was still a good show, so she stayed. Anyway, Lu Disheng would reimburse the accommodation and hospitality. 4 days later, Lu Yi brought a piece of news. He Jianjun and Lu Hongling got the marriage certificate. Wan Qiqi had just woken up from a nap. She was so sleepy that she chatted with old Ginkgo until midnight last night. However, the news brought by Lu Yi immediately made her energetic. "Does your father agree?" Wan Qiqi couldn't understand why Lu Disheng, that He Jianjun, who was not a good match no matter how you looked at him, would agree. Lu Disheng was the commander of the military district. If he didn't sign the marriage report, the two of them would never get married. Lu Yi's mouth curled up sarcastically. He never sticks to principles in front of Lu Chunchao. The old man's principles only apply to him. To Lu Chunchao, to his stepmother, and to the 2 sons born to her, the old man has no principles, except for him. He explained again, "Lu Chunchao is the mother of Lu Hongling and Lu Hongba, and also my half-sister. This Lu Chunchao is your father's treasure?" Wan Qiqi still couldn't understand. Lu Disheng was so strict with his son and didn't look like a loving father. How could he agree to his daughter's unprincipled request? Lu Yi smiled even more sarcastically. "She's not his darling, but my dad feels guilty." He left with a passing army just 2 months after getting married and didn't come back for more than 10 years. Lu Chuansao's mother remarried with her and lived a hard life. When my dad found them, Lu Chunchao had already married in the village and didn't live well either. So he felt particularly guilty about Lu Chunchao and almost agreed to every request. Lu Chuansao's family was arranged to move to the city, and they all had good jobs. Lu Chunchao and his wife both worked in the winery. Lu Hongling was a nurse in the military hospital, Lu Hongba was in the arsenal, and there was another Lu Hongtao who was also in the army and was now a deputy company commander. Why doesn't your father feel guilty about you? You had a harder life. You grew up on your own. Wan Qiqi blurted out. No matter how difficult Lu Chuancao's life was, at least she had her mother to take care of her, but Lu Yi was abandoned by his parents and grew up to fend for himself, so he had it even harder. Lu Ye's smile froze, and his heart felt like it was stabbed by a knife, and the pain made him breathless. It turned out that even outsiders knew that he was the one who suffered the most, but why didn't his father realize this? He said that I'm a man and should be strong. Lu Yi explained lightly. That's what the old man said. You were a child who had no self-care ability at that time, a child who needed your parents' care to grow up. Oh, I'm so angry your father is really a... Wan Qiqi was so angry that her chest hurt. How could she have such a bad father? Although Lu Disheng was a revolutionary elder who had made great contributions and shed blood, and was a meritorious official to the country, he was definitely a bad guy as Lu Ye's father. Lu Yi was upset at first, but when he saw Wan Qiqi so angry, his mood suddenly improved, and he said with a smile, I'm not angry anymore, and you don't have to be angry. Come on. I'll treat you to a meal at Huagondian. The old man will be reimbursed. He added. Let's go. Wan Qiqi was not polite and went downstairs with him. Huagondian is on Posey Street, not far from the guest house, and it only takes about 10 minutes by bike. The snacks here are particularly famous. Wan Qiqi had eaten here several times in her previous life, but the taste was not so amazing. The snacks in many alleys in Tanzhou are better than those in Huagondian. I hope that the Huagondian in the 1970s can surprise her. When you come to Huagondian, you must order stinky tofu. This is a snack that even the chairman has praised. Wan Qiqi ordered double-steamed cured meat, braised pork, chopped pepper fish head, dragon fat pig blood, and boiled sanzi. Most of the food here is in small plates and not much. Double-steamed cured meat, boiled sanzi, scallion oil cakes, cured meat glutinous rice. Lu Yi ordered triangular tofu, 5-spice dried bean curd, glutinous rice with preserved meat, sweet wine and egg dumplings, hot stewed food 4-in-1, a bowl of pork intestines, and a bowl of rice noodles. Hot stewed food 4-in-1 means picking 4 things from the stewed dishes and mixing them together. Lu Yi chose chicken, bean curd sheets, leeks, and beef. It is very delicious. Wan Qiqi loves chicken the most, both vegetarian and meaty. Hot stewed food 4-in-1 5-spice dried bean curd is the rice noodles she dreams of eating. Meaty chicken is made of chicken intestines, duck intestines, and pig intestines, while vegetarian chicken is vegetarian chicken. Both are delicious, and she never tires of eating them. The food they ordered filled the table. The other tables of 4 people did not order as much as they did. They both had good appetites and finished the whole table. Lu Yi even gave her half of the rice noodles. Burp. Wan Qiqi burped with satisfaction. It turned out that the Fire Palace in the 1970s was more delicious. Every food was absolutely delicious. Lu Yi cleaned up the rest and ate all the dishes. Are they having a wedding? Wan Qiqi asked. No, my dad doesn't agree to do it. He's afraid of losing face. Lu Yi curled his lips with a sarcastic expression. Wan Qiqi burped again, and then said, He has lost face a long time ago. Your dad is not smart. Not as good as your stepfather. Mo Qiufeng is cunning and treacherous, an old fox. If he had a good brain, he would have been the political commissar. Lu Disheng snorted lightly. Mo Qiufeng's brain is 10 times that of the old man. Wan Qiqi frowned. Lu Disheng's brain is not good. He might not be able to find out about He Jianjun's false claim of credit. Why didn't He Jianjun mention it? Because he had made meritorious service. There must be something fishy about this. He can't even beat me. How can he make meritorious service? Wan Qiqi directly expressed her suspicion. Lu Ye's brain is much better than his father. He will definitely find out the truth when he investigates. Lu Yi smiled. I have found the evidence and am just waiting for them to get the certificate. I will give it to the old man later. Wan Qiqi gave him a thumbs up, and the two smiled at each other, both smiling like foxes. He Jianjun will be expelled, right?
She asked.
His case is very serious. Logically, he should be brought to the military court, but Lu Chunqiao will definitely plead for him, and at most he will be expelled from the army. Lu Yi said sarcastically, "Please take me to Lu Hongling's house when you can. She almost had a miscarriage. I feel bad about it, and I want to go and comfort her. And Lu Hongba, it's also a sin. I'll go and see." Wan Qiqi's tone was very sincere. Lu Yi saw through her thoughts at a glance and readily agreed. "I'll take you there tomorrow." When he returned to the military region, he would give the evidence to the old man. Lu Chuansao's family would definitely be in chaos tomorrow, and he also wanted to go and watch the fun. "Okay, I'll go home after I finish comforting your eldest nephew. There is also her uncle's family, who are eyeing Ruanjiawan covetously. She is worried about Xiao Xue being alone at home, and her elder sister, Wan Shuangjiang, is now living in dire straits. She has to rescue the three of them and bring them home." She promised her original self. Lu Ye's heart skipped a beat, and he felt very reluctant. He was in a particularly good mood these days when he was playing with Wan Qiqi. If this girl went back to her hometown, who would he play with? It would be great if Wan Qiqi could stay in Tanzhou City. He really likes making friends with this girl. After dinner, Lu Yi sent her back to the guest house, and he returned to the military region to submit evidence to the headquarters first. Lu Disheng, who was sitting in the office, had a dark face and was in a bad mood. Although he agreed to Lu Hongling's marriage, he felt very upset and could only sulk alone. "Take a look." Lu Yi went straight into the house without knocking and stuffed the evidence into the old man's hand. "What?" Lu Disheng put on his reading glasses and read only a few lines before his face turned purple with anger. "You can go and check it yourself. The evidence is conclusive. He Jianjun claimed the credit of his comrades. It was Lu Hongling who took advantage of your power and threatened and intimidated him." Lu Yi sneered, said this, and left. There was a sound of things being smashed behind him. He stopped, sneered, and left. "Deputy Battalion Commander Lu, your niece is married. When are you going to get married?" The officer who was walking towards him had a good relationship with Lu Yi and joked at him. Lu Yi's mind moved, and a light bulb went off in his mind. He suddenly thought of a good idea. As long as he and Wan Qiqi got married, wouldn't it be natural for him to stay in the city? "Shaoli, why are you running so fast?" The officer who greeted Lu Yi stopped Lu Disheng's bodyguard Shaoli. "The commander asked me to go to the third company to do something important." Shaoli looked solemn and did not stop while speaking. "Then you go quickly and do not delay."
"Hey."
Shaoli glanced at Lu Yi and quickly ran away. The third company was the company where He Jianjun was located. The commander asked him to investigate the matter of He Jianjun falsely claiming the credit. In fact, there was nothing to investigate in this matter. Deputy Battalion Commander Lu had already investigated it very clearly, and the evidence was conclusive. That son of a witch He Jianjun just stole someone else's third-class merit. Shaoli actually did not understand. It was obvious that Lu Yi was the commander's most promising son. So why did the commander dislike him so much? The commander regarded Lu Hongling, who was not presentable, as his treasure. This ugly woman was under the commander's banner and was everywhere in the army. There are many people in the team who are bullying others by taking advantage of their power. The Miss Ruan who hanged herself was right. It was all caused by the commander's connivance. Although Shaoli thought so in his heart, he didn't dare to say it out loud.
He was just a small guard.
Protecting the safety of the leader was his primary responsibility. He had no right to interfere in the leader's family affairs. Lu Ye's mouth curled up. The old man must have asked Xiao Li to investigate He Jianjun. There would be a good show soon. At this time, He Jianjun didn't know that a disaster was coming. He was enjoying the flattery of others. He was so proud that he almost forgot his last name. "Platoon leader we are from the same hometown. If you have any good things in the future, don't forget me, your brother, and me." Platoon leader he and I are not only from the same hometown but also from the same commune. I have a cousin who married in the same village as platoon leader he. We are related. Platoon leader he, This is the cured fish my mother sent you.
Take it and eat it.
Several people surrounded He Jianjun, vying with each other to make friends with him. They dug out all the distant relatives just to get close to He Jianjun. Platoon leader He, there are still 15 cigarettes in this pack of Xiaomei cigarettes. Take it and smoke it. Someone took out a pack of Xiaomei cigarettes from his pocket, hesitated for a few seconds, and decisively stuffed it into He Jianjun's pocket. Xiaomei cigarettes are like a wolf that can't be caught without a baby. He Jianjun is now the commander's grandson-in-law. He will definitely have a bright future and will rise rapidly in the future. If he flatters him now, he will get benefits in the future. The faces of others changed slightly. This kid is really willing to spend a lot of money. Xiaomei cigarettes are 4.6 yuan a pack, and he also needs cigarette coupons. Usually they only smoke Jinong and Fengshou cigarettes at 8 cents a pack. If they are a little more extravagant, they will buy Changde cigarettes at 2.8 yuan a pack to satisfy their cravings. No one will buy them. Xiaomei at 46 cents. Economic and Harvest Changde cigarettes. The man who took out Xiaomei was reluctant to smoke at ordinary times. He had Xiaomei in his left pocket and Fengshou in his right pocket. He smoked Fengshou himself and gave Xiaomei to his leader. This pack of Xiaomei was bought in the first month of the year, and he only smoked 5 of them. He Jianjun generously accepted the cigarettes and the cured fish. He smiled so proudly that even the wound on his head didn't hurt. He didn't promise these people anything, but just laughed a few times to fool them. When he first joined the army, these people bullied him, and now they are rushing to curry favor with him. Humph! Jianjun. Lu Hongling walked over from a distance, holding a thermos bucket in her hand, which contained her stewed bone soup. He Jianjun ran over attentively. I stewed the bone soup for 2 hours. Drink it while it's hot. Lu Hongling's voice was gentle, and she patted him on the shoulder affectionately. Hongling, you are so nice. He Jianjun's sweet words came out of his mouth, but when he spoke, his eyes were looking into the distance, and he didn't dare to look at Lu Hongling's pockmarked face, which looked like a scabby baby, making him feel sick. We are husband and wife. If I don't treat you well, who else can I treat well? Drink it quickly. Lu Hongling, who was bubbling with happiness, looked at him affectionately and urged him to drink the soup quickly. The two found a step nearby and sat down, snuggling together. He Jianjun drank the soup and Lu Hongling looked at him lovingly. The others couldn't stand watching from afar, and they all rubbed their arms and silently gave He Jianjun a thumbs up. They joined the army earlier than He Jianjun, but they would rather fight for another 30 years than marry Lu Hongling. Facing that pockmarked face all day long, even if they were promoted 3 levels, it would not heal their broken hearts. He Jianjun was really an awesome man for getting Lu Hongling pregnant, and he deserved this blessing. Barrett. They are not jealous at all. He Jianjun finished drinking the love bone soup and burped happily. He wanted to say a few sweet words to Lu Hongling when he saw a group of people coming over. Walking in the front were the company commander and the instructor, as well as Shaoli, the guard beside the commander, and an ordinary soldier. When He Jianjun saw the soldier, his heart tightened and he had a bad premonition. Because this soldier was the one who truly won the 3rd-class merit, and his family had no power, so he had to give up the credit. Lu Hongling told him that the matter had been settled, but why did Shaoli call him now? Hongling, is the 3rd-class merit really okay? He Jianjun asked anxiously. What could happen? Unless that man doesn't want to stay in the army anymore, he wouldn't dare to. Lu Hongling didn't care. Her grandfather was the commander. It was just a small 3rd-class merit. What could happen? He Jianjun felt a little relieved. He felt that he must be too sensitive. He had been promoted. What else could go wrong? Maybe Shaoli had something else to do with them. It was dark and nothing happened. He Jianjun felt more at ease. Sure enough, it was the wisest to hold on to Lu Hongling's thigh. Although Lu Hongling was ugly, it was the same with the lights turned off. When he got to a high position, he would divorce this ugly freak and find a young and beautiful one. The next morning, Ruan Chichi received a call from Lu Yi. He called the front desk and the waiter came to call her. Ruan Chichi was hoeing the ground in the space last night. She was exhausted and slept soundly. She answered the phone in a daze and heard Lu Ye's excited voice. The old man just called those two people and scolded them. When were they fired? Wan Qiqi immediately perked up. Although Lu Disheng was confused, he was quite efficient. He will be fired within 3 days. The old man hates this kind of thing the most. Will Lu Chunchao go to your father to plead for mercy? What if your father is soft-hearted and doesn't fire you? Wan Qiqi didn't trust Lu Disheng very much. He was too unprincipled towards his daughter. She went to great lengths to make a fuss, not just to make a lot of noise but little rain. He Jianjun must be fired from the army. When I go back tonight, Lu Chunchao will definitely come. If she cries, makes a fuss, and even threatens to commit suicide, I will make a fuss too. Lu Yi was not so determined anymore. The old man was indeed unreliable. He decided to go crazy at home at night to destroy Lu Chuancao's plea. Can you take me with you? Even the king of Hades is afraid of me when I get crazy. Wan Qiqi volunteered. Lu Ye's chuckle could be heard from the microphone. This girl's metaphors were either the seventh day of the dead or the king of Hades. So funny. You can bring her, but you have to have a reputation. If you bring a female comrade home for no reason, people will gossip. Lu Ye's tone was a little embarrassed. Wan Qiqi also felt that she was forcing someone. In this era, if a man and a woman held hands, they would be regarded as hooligans. She really couldn't ruin Lu Ye's reputation, but she wanted to go to Lu's house and act crazy. Just say I'm your partner, okay? Wan Qiqi thought of a good idea. The man was unmarried, and the woman had just returned to being single. They could definitely be in a relationship. When they returned to their hometown, she and Lu Yi would not meet again, and it would not have any impact on him. Okay, I'll pick you up at 6 in the evening. Lu Yi agreed quickly, without hesitation for a second, and there was a hint of happiness in his tone. Wan Qiqi frowned. Did she hear it wrong? This guy seemed quite proud. She was too lazy to think about it. Anyway, she would go back to the countryside in a few days. After hanging up the phone, she gave the waiter 5 cents. Now she had to pay for answering the phone. It was getting dark. Wan Qiqi had a lotus leaf rice in advance. At 6 o'clock, Lu Yi arrived on time to take her to the compound and bought a handful of bananas on the way. The old man wants to send He Jianjun to a military court. Lu Hongling was too frightened and was hospitalized again. Lu Chunchao is now in the compound. On the way, Lu Yi talked about what happened that day, and his tone was particularly gloating. The baby in Lu Hongling's belly is really strong. It didn't fall out after all this trouble. Wan Qiqi's tone was regretful. This kid reminded her of Comrade Zhu Jianqiang. No, how could the kid of a witch be compared with Comrade Zhu Jianqiang? She was sorry to Comrade Zhu Jianqiang. She was wrong. Registration is also required to enter the compound. Lu Yi told the guard that Wan Qiqi was his partner. The guard looked at her for several times and said with a smile, "Congratulations, Brother Yi. When will we have wedding candy?" "It will definitely be this year, and yours will be indispensable." Lu Yi smiled happily, looking very proud. Wan Qiqi gently tugged at the hem of his clothes and reminded him in a low voice, "We are fake, so don't brag too much." "I'm not bragging. I will definitely get married this year." Lu Yi smiled even more happily. A smile rippled across the handsome man's face, radiating masculine charm everywhere. Wan Qiqi, who was standing next to him, saw his perfect profile and couldn't help swallowing her saliva. My goodness, he looks so good when he smiles, so tempting. In fact, it's not impossible for fake play to become real. She is not so virtuous. But from Lu Ye's tone, he will definitely get married this year, and he should already have a partner, right? Forget it, although she is not virtuous. She has never been cheap, and being a mistress is absolutely not allowed. This is a matter of principle. We're here. Lu Yi stopped the car and saw the newly planted flowers in the garden. He sneered. He had just finished cutting them, and his stepmother planted them. She was really energetic. It's okay, he will cut them after they grow out. Dad, Hongling can't be stimulated anymore. If He Jianjun goes to jail, how can you let Hongling live? I can't live either. Lu Chuancao's crying voice came out. If you make a mistake, you must accept the punishment. This son of a witch He Jianjun even dares to take the credit for other people's work. It's just now. If it was 20 years earlier, I would have killed him. Lu Disheng deliberately lowered his voice, but the low roar still came out. Wan Qiqi and Lu Yi exchanged a tacit look and stood at the door to listen first. Dad, you are the commander, and you have the final say in the entire military region. Please pity Hongling and me, and forgive He Jianjun. He will never make mistakes again in the future. Lu Chunchao cried and begged. She also hated He Jianjun for not living up to his expectations, but who made her daughter devoted to him. As soon as He Jianjun was arrested, Hongling had spotting again. The doctor said that if she was stimulated again, both adults and children would be in danger. She couldn't just watch her daughter die, right? Lu Chunchao also looks like Lu Disheng, but her skin is whiter and her face is not pockmarked. She is much prettier than her daughter. In addition, after moving to the city, she lived a pampered life. She no longer had the simplicity of a rural woman, but became snobbish and shrewd. She looked at people with raised eyelids and rarely looked at them straight in the eye. After all, her father was the commander, and his status in Tanzhou City was one of the best. Lu Chunchao felt that in Tanzhou City, she was like the eldest princess in ancient times. She could do whatever she wanted, and no one dared to resist her. She thought so and taught her children so. All three children learned very well, and even surpassed their father, and were more domineering than Lu Chunchao. At this time, Lu Chunchao no longer had the arrogance of the past. She knelt on the ground with snot and tears, and her image was completely gone. Lu Disheng sat there with a sullen face, glaring at his daughter with disappointment, and scolded, "Precisely because I am the commander, you should be more strict with yourselves and not bully others in my name. Don't shed mouse tears in front of me." Hongling is also involved in this matter. She must also be brought to the military court. Dad, Hongling is still lying in the hospital. The doctor said that she can't be stimulated anymore. Something really will happen. Hongling was born in misery. When I was pregnant with her, I couldn't even eat eggs. I had to drink wild vegetable porridge. She was smaller than a mouse when she was born. I didn't have water, and everyone said she couldn't be raised. I cooked rice porridge every day and raised her with great difficulty. I owe this child. I'm not sorry for her. Lu Chunchao began to recall the miserable past again. This was her forte. She either recalled her own miserable childhood or her daughter's even more miserable childhood. Anyway, the main word was miserable. Chunchao, everyone's life was not easy before. Your father didn't have enough to eat on the front line, he didn't even have winter clothes, and he had to fight the enemy to the death. Those were hard times. Your good life now is earned by your father with blood. He is the one who suffered the most in this family. As relatives, we should support his work and not hold him back. Hongling has really gone too far this time. She got pregnant before getting married and threatened others to take credit. What a bad influence. Your father's spine is almost broken. The woman's voice was soft and gentle. Every word she spoke was for Lu Disheng's consideration. She also condemned the misbehavior of Lu Chuancao's family. She really makes good tea. Wan Qiqi raised her eyebrows. Before she asked, Lu Yi said, "My two-faced stepmother is called Lin Manyan. The old man just loves her tricks." When the old man was injured and hospitalized, Lin Manyan was the nurse responsible for taking care of him. Within a month, the old man sank into the gentleness of this woman and reported to get married. Men are all into this. Wan Qiqi whispered. 9 out of 10 men like Lin Manyan. I just don't like it. Lu Ye's tone was very firm. He liked Wan Qiqi, and it was crazy in his heart. Otherwise, how can you say that you are an excellent person selected by nature? Wan Qiqi flattered just right. Not only was she crazy, she was also good at flattering. There was no way excellent people knew a little bit of everything. Lu Yi grinned, and his mouth corners were pulled to his ears. He loved listening to Wan Qiqi talk. He couldn't imagine how happy life would be after marrying Wan Qiqi. First Lu Chunchao, then your stepmother and your grandfather, grandfather means father. Wan Chichi spoke very concisely. This was her habit. When she got familiar with people, she would unconsciously speak more and more briefly. When she was too familiar, it would evolve into one word. As long as someone was familiar with her, they would definitely understand. If they didn't understand, it meant they were not her true friends, so they could delete them. Okay.
Louis nodded.
He thought so too. The two did not knock on the door. Louis had the key and went in directly. Lu Chunchao was scolding Lin Manyun, with her hands on her hips, full of momentum. I am talking to my dad, who has the right to interrupt as a little wife. Hongling got pregnant before getting married, but she is in a serious relationship. Unlike some people who abuse their power for personal gain and take people to bed while at work, you still have the nerve to talk about my Hongling? Clean your own ace first. Lu Chunchao was full of fire and scolded very dirty. She was only 1 year younger than Lin Manyun and never took this stepmother seriously. Lin Manyun was petite, with fair skin, and had the appearance of a beautiful girl from a small family. She was not a great beauty, but to Lu Disheng, who had never eaten any fine bran, she was definitely comparable to Shishir. What do you mean by little wife? Speak with more respect. Your father and I are married in a formal ceremony with the approval of the organization. Lu Chunchao, I am your elder after all.
How dare you talk to me like that?
Lin Manyun was so angry that she was shaking all over. She looked at Lu Disheng with tears in her eyes. Her pitiful appearance made Lu Disheng feel distressed. He scolded Lu Chunchao. What you're talking about? You are disrespectful to elders and talking nonsense. You have no rules at all. Hongling and Hongba learn from you. That's why they are like this. What elders? Her birthday and mine are only 3 months apart. Dad, don't you feel ashamed? I still have my dignity. Landlord Zhu didn't even dare to marry such a young concubine. You are really capable. The landlord Zhu that Lu Chunchao was talking about was a big landlord in his hometown, who was shot after liberation. Landlord Zhu married 12 concubines and did a lot of things to bully men and women and exploit villagers. Before Lu Disheng joined the revolution, he worked as a pig herd in landlord Zhu's house. He had been raising pigs for half a year, but he didn't get a penny of wages and was beaten by landlord Zhu's thugs. This incident became the fuse for Lu Disheng to join the revolution. The army told him that the revolution was to kill people like landlord Zhu. He was just what he wanted when he heard it, so he followed the army overnight. Sure enough, as soon as liberation came, landlord Zhu was shot, and the land and food were divided. Lu Chunchao used landlord Zhu as an example, which hurt Lu Disheng. He killed landlord Zhu, but his daughter said that he was not as good as landlord Zhu. This was more infuriating than throwing dirty water on his head. You are getting more and more outrageous. Lu Disheng pointed at his daughter. His face turned pale with anger, his fingers trembling. But even though he was so angry, he did not scold his daughter harshly. Lu Chunchao was very proud. She knew that in the old man's heart, she was the most important, because among several children, she was the only one who saw his grandparents to the end. No matter whether it was Lu Yi or the 2 rascals born to Lin Manyun, they were not qualified to compare with her. Your family is too unruly. The father is not like a father, and the daughter is not like a daughter. In our village, if a daughter dares to talk back to her grandfather like this, her legs will definitely be broken. It's really treasonous. God will strike this unfilial daughter to death. Wan Chichi's voice sounded slowly. After she and Lu Yi came in, they sat quietly in the corner to watch the show. The 3 people in the room were arguing and didn't see them. My father can't bear it. My eldest sister is his sweetheart. He can't bear to beat her even if she kills people and sets fires outside. Lu Yi was a very qualified supporting actor, and he immediately took over what Wan Chichi said. Lu Disheng's face was very ugly, and he felt very upset. He wanted to curse a few words, but he felt guilty. Lu Chunchao was indeed getting more and more outrageous. But he owed his daughter after all. From the birth to the marriage, he had not fulfilled his father's responsibilities. Now he could only make up for it more. You can't bear to kill or set fire. No wonder Lu Hongling is so arrogant, snatching other people's fiancés and other people's third-class merits. It's true that if the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked, and if the middle beam is not straight, it will collapse. Sooner or later, your family will be finished. Wan Qiqi shook her head as she spoke, and she even emphasized the last sentence with a heavier tone. Everyone in the room changed their faces, except Lu Yi.
Who are you?
Do you have the right to speak? Lu Chunchao didn't know Wan Qiqi and threatened her, and her finger almost poked Wan Qiqi's eyes. Don't poke my eyes with your fingers. Wan Qiqi had a calm expression and said in a serious tone, What's wrong with poking you? Look at how young you are. Didn't adults teach you to speak? You're born by a mother but not raised by one. Lu Chunchao was so angry that she took it out on Wan Qiqi, scolding her in a particularly harsh way. Lu Disheng was about to teach his daughter a lesson when he saw Wan Qiqi grab Lu Chuancao's right index finger with lightning speed. A hint of coldness flashed across her dark eyes. Stop. Lu Disheng's heart trembled. He just opened his mouth when he was interrupted by a crisp click.
Ah!
Lu Chuancao's screams resounded through the sky. Her right index finger was broken by Wan Qiqi and bent in a twisted posture. I told you not to poke my eyes. Don't you understand what I'm saying? Wan Qiqi's voice was just like her, delicate and soft, but what she did was so cruel that it made people's scalp numb. She took out a handkerchief from her pocket and wiped her hands slowly, wiping everything from the fingertips to the gaps between her fingers. Lu Chunchao was sweating profusely, and her face turned pale with pain. Lu Yi did not hide his gloating and smiled. Lin Mannion covered her mouth with fear, but her eyes were very excited. She wished that Wan Qiqi would be more cruel and break all 10 of Lu Chuancao's fingers. After being stunned for a few seconds, Lu Disheng was full of anger and stared at Wan Qiqi with dissatisfaction and said in a deep voice, Miss Wan, how can you hurt others? Wan Qiqi wiped her hands again, then put the handkerchief into her pocket, looked up at Lu Disheng, and asked kindly, Did Lu Chunchao poke my eyes? Lu Disheng choked and said, Even if she poked your eyes, you wouldn't be so heavy-handed, right? Then what should I do? Wait until Lu Chunchao pokes my eyes out before I fight back? Even the Tang Dynasty law has regulations that in case of a fight, the severity of the injuries caused by the two parties will be determined according to the law. If the latter is right, the punishment will be reduced by 2 levels. If the person dies, there will be no reduction. This is a new society. We can't go backwards, can we? Commander Lu, it's a good thing you're not a judge otherwise. Humph. Wan Qiqi retorted sharply. She respected Lu Disheng's contribution to the country, but when it came to handling household affairs, she really disliked this old man and didn't want to be polite at all. Lu Disheng's eyes were full of mosquito coils. Knowing that he only studied in a private school for 1 year and had no education, she still flirted with him. What did this dead girl mean by sugar donkey? He subconsciously looked at Lin Mannion. His wife was more educated than him, so maybe she understood it? Lin Mannion shook her head slightly. Her education was also limited. She became a nurse because there were too few people at the time, and she forced herself into it. Don't understand? The education of your family of 3 combined is not even as high as 1 floor. The chairman said that we should study hard and make progress every day, but you didn't listen at all. Wan Qiqi frowned and lectured in a condescending manner. Lu Disheng felt worse than if he had eaten a fly. This dead girl brought up the quotations from the past. What else could he say? This is a legal provision in ancient times. It means that when 2 people fight, the one who strikes first is not at fault, and the one who fights back should not be punished if he injures the other. Do you understand? Wan Qiqi explained it again using her understanding, and even kindly supplemented it with the quotations from the past. The chairman said, I will not offend others unless they offend me. If others offend me, I must offend them. I reminded Lu Chunchao not to poke my eyes, but she not only refused to let go, she also cursed me with dirty words. So what's wrong with me fighting back? I'm a good poor peasant who listens to the chairman the most. Wan Qiqi also took out a collection of quotations from her bag, expressing how hard she had studied them. Before she came here, her original body had told her in detail about the survival rules of this era. Quotations were the magic weapon for survival. No matter what she did, she would be invincible if she memorized quotations. But she had a photographic memory. She would read the quotations every day and basically memorize them. She could throw out a quotation anytime and anywhere to kill Lu Disheng, the old fool. Lu Disheng's face was so ugly that it could kill the ox-headed and horse face. He had to take back his previous opinion of Ruan Qiqi. This girl was not at all a good guy. Just like Lu Yi, the rascal, they are all mad dogs, and they will bite anyone they catch. Lu Disheng was so angry that he didn't expect Ruan Qiqi to go home with Lu Yi suddenly. He had been completely disrupted by Ruan Qiqi, and his mind was in a mess. Lu Yi was so happy that he was talking nonsense. He felt that the wisest decision in his life was to bring Ruan Qiqi home. The old man was so angry. In the past, he overturned the table, smashed things, and ruined the garden, but he couldn't make the old man so angry. Ruan Qiqi was much more powerful than him. He must marry such a crazy girl home.
You. Who are you?
It's your turn to talk about my family's affairs? You broke my fingers and you are right? Dad, you have to make the decision for me. This little witch doesn't even take you seriously. Lu Chuancao's voice dropped 8 tones in pain, and she had no strength left. Otherwise, she would have taught the witch a lesson herself. Qiqi is the person I want to marry. Do you think she is qualified? Lu Yi snorted coldly and said something that shocked the whole family. Lu Chuanqiao was so shocked that even her fingers didn't hurt, and she stared at Ruan Qiqi in astonishment. Lin Mannion opened her mouth so wide that she could swallow a goose egg, and then she was secretly delighted. Ruan Qiqi was disrespectful and a country girl. Lu Yi would not get any help if he married her, and he would definitely not be able to compete with her son in the future. Lu Disheng almost slipped off the chair. His mind was even more confused, like a tangled mess that could not be cut or sorted out. He couldn't figure out the relationship between these people. Say it again. What is your relationship with her? Lu Disheng pointed at Ruan Qiqi and asked, Marriage partner. Are you hard of hearing? Lu Yi rolled his eyes and said, I will file a marriage report tomorrow. I don't agree. You are just doing it nonsense. Lu Disheng roared. He would never sign. Lu Yi was about to refute, but he was not faster than Ruan Qiqi. Why don't you agree? The chairman said that marriage is free. Lu Yi and I are unmarried. I am a poor peasant, and he is a member of the People's Liberation Army. The army and the people are united as one family. Our marriage is a perfect match made in heaven. How can it be called nonsense? Ruan Qiqi rolled up her sleeves and questioned loudly. She had nothing to do with dating, but Lu Disheng's nonsense completely provoked her to rebel. She weighed 95 pounds, but she was rebellious at least 94.9 pounds. She supported what the enemy opposed. She wanted to date Lu Yi and off this old fool. My dad meant that getting pregnant before getting married, like Lu Hongling, is considered a proper relationship. Lu Yi said coldly.
So this is the rule in your family.
No wonder Lu Hongling got pregnant before marriage, and Lu Hongba got hemorrhoids from being a rabbit god. The beams of your family are crooked from top to bottom. It will be over sooner or later. Lu Yi, you don't need your dad's consent. You can come to my house and be a son-in-law. Do you want to go? Ruan Qiqi said sarcastically, then looked at Lu Yi and asked, Go away. I love living off you the most. From now on, the children we have will take your surname. Lu Yi readily agreed. It didn't matter whether he came to live with his family or not. He just wanted to live with Ruan Qiqi. Don't worry, I will definitely not treat you badly. At least my family doesn't have a biased old man, a smiling tiger stepmother, or a vicious sister. You will definitely have a happy life if you live in my house. Ruan Qiqi said this and glanced at the person she pointed out. Her sarcasm was too obvious. Lin Mannion, who was secretly happy, changed her face instantly and looked at Ruan Qiqi with gritted teeth. She originally thought that a friendly army had come, but this dead girl became crazy like a mad dog and could not tell friend from foe. As expected, if they are not from the same family, they will not marry. She is the same person as Lu Yi. Lu Yi, you are too willful. You are a member of the Lu family. How can you go to the countryside to be a son-in-law? Lin Manyun was in a teary mood. This is how she has been trying to sow discord between father and son over the years, and the effect is very good. The two father and son almost became enemies and quarreled whenever they met. Lu Disheng gritted his teeth. What his wife said was what he wanted to say. How could his son go to the countryside to be a son-in-law? He would be laughed to death. What's wrong with the countryside? The chairman said that farmers are the most reliable allies. Why do you think that farmers are shameful? You are like those who forget the well diggers when you drink water, and forget the farmers when you eat food. You are ungrateful people who have forgotten your roots. Wan Chichi shouted angrily. Every word was heart-piercing, and every sentence was reasonable. Lu Disheng's temples were throbbing. This girl kept quoting quotations. He had never felt so aggrieved when fighting the Japanese before. Chichi, I'm not an ungrateful person. I want to be your son-in-law. Can I change my surname to Wan? Lu Yi responded without fear of trouble. He looked very serious when he said this, and he was not joking. It's nice to call him Wan Yi. He is quite happy to do so. Nonsense. You are my son, Lu Disheng. Do you need to be a son-in-law? Lu Disheng cursed, veins on his forehead throbbing. He held the handrail tightly, and the veins on the back of his hand bulged, which showed how angry he was. Being your son is not a good thing, so don't be one. Lu Yi snorted coldly and rolled his eyes. Lu Disheng felt in his heart, and a surge of anger rushed to his head. His palms were itching, and he wanted to beat someone up. That's right, people think you have a commander as your father, and you live a happy life. In fact, no one has taken care of you since you were born. You were given away to various families, and you had to beg for food when you were 3 years old. Even beggars are not as pitiful as you. Although I am a beggar, I know how to protect my children. Wan Chichi sneered sarcastically. Seeing Lu Disheng's ugly face, she felt good. We were in the war before, and we had no choice but to give Xiaoyi away. After the war, old Lu went to take Xiaoyi home. Lin Manyun helped to explain. Lu Disheng felt better. Only his wife understood his difficulties at home. The others were all disobedient and unfilial. Especially Lu Yi, who was rebellious. Wan Chichi snorted and said sarcastically, You don't have time to pick up your son, but you have plenty of time to talk about love. If Lu Yi is not taken home, there will be a stepmother in the family and 2 younger brothers born to the stepmother. It's really a waste of time. Lu Yi had told her that he was taken home when he was 10 years old. When he got home, he was greeted by his stepmother and 2 stepbrothers. At that time, his heart was like a large basin of ice water poured on him, freezing him from head to toe. Lu Disheng was busy with work, and Lin Manyun was in charge of the family. This woman was sweet-mouthed but vicious, two-faced, and coaxed Lu Disheng into a daze. On the surface, she was a good stepmother, but secretly she found ways to bully Lu Yi. He couldn't even have enough food to eat, and when he complained to Lu Disheng, he was beaten instead. Lu Disheng scolded him for being heartless. Lin Manyun took care of him wholeheartedly, but he didn't know how to be grateful. He was really an ungrateful person. Since then, Lu Yi never complained again. He used his own way to resist Lin Manyun. At the age of 10, he couldn't think of any other way. The only thing he could do was to go crazy. He broke everything that Lin Manyun liked, mainly clothes and flowers, which Lu Yi had been cutting since he was a child. And every time Lin Manyun bullied him, he beat his 2 brothers. Brother, don't suffer any loss. Although doing so is very venting, it also caused the relationship between Lu Yi and Lu Disheng to become worse and worse, and they couldn't even sit down and talk calmly. When Wan Chichi heard what Lu Yi said, she was dissatisfied with Lu Disheng. He didn't fulfill his responsibilities as a father, so how could he have the face to scold Lu Yi? And her heart knot was suddenly untied. Compared with Lu Disheng, the scumbag father, her parents in her previous life were actually very good. There was no other way to send her to a mental hospital. The doctor said it was so serious that her parents were afraid that she would really become a lunatic. Her younger brother was born a year after she was hospitalized. The doctor said that her disease could not be cured in a short time, and she had to take medicine for a long time. The implication was that she was useless, and her parents had to practice trumpet again. Even after giving birth to a younger brother, her parents would often visit her in the mental hospital and give red envelopes to the dean and the doctor. She enjoyed VIP treatment in the mental hospital, lived in a single room, and had wife. She can also shop online for things she likes. She is the only one in the entire inpatient department who has a mobile phone, which is the main reason why she became the big sister of the mental hospital. Even the most insane patients have to be obedient in front of her because they are not allowed to play with their mobile phones if they don't obey. What's more, after she was discharged from the hospital, her parents gave her a lifetime of food and clothing. Compared with Lu Disheng, her parents are really perfect. Wan Qiqi didn't give Lu Disheng any face at all, and even tore off the fig leaf. Lu Disheng's old face turned red and blue, and the smile on Lin Manyun's face froze, and she was embarrassed. Lu Chunchao, whose hands were aching, was very happy to hear this. Although she didn't like Wan Qiqi, what she said was absolutely right. The old man left her mother and walked away. There has been no news for more than 10 years. He didn't send a penny or write a letter. People in the village said that he was dead, and her mother couldn't bear it anymore. Lu Chunchao was forced to marry an old bachelor from the same village. As a result, the second year after her mother got married, the old man sent a letter home and sent a few dollars. The letter said that he had become a regiment commander and would come to pick her up after the war. After her mother heard someone read the letter, she hid in the house and cried for a long time, and then asked someone to reply to the letter, telling her about the situation at home, mainly asking her father not to mistreat her daughter. Fortunately, the old man had a conscience and didn't mistreat her, but Lu Chunchao was still unwilling. If the old man had sent the letter back earlier, her mother would not have remarried, and now the mistress of the Lu family is her mother. She must be living a better life than now. Lin Manyun is a. She says one thing to your face and another behind your back. She blows pillow talk from morning to night. Lu Chunchao hates her to death, but she doesn't dare to scold her too harshly because of Lu Disheng. Wan Qiqi is simply her mouthpiece, and she scolds her happily. 2 children in 3 years, very efficient. Lu Yi added coldly, "The efficiency of finding my son is so slow. I can't find him in 10 years. No wonder the old saying, if there is a stepmother, there will be a stepfather. It's really true." Wan Qiqi sneered and cast a contemptuous look at Lu Disheng and Lin Manyun. That's right. Lu Chunchao, who was fascinated by what she heard, couldn't help but make a joke. "Enough, you're singing the same tune and want to rebel? Lu Yi, I have told you many times and sent people to find you 6 times. It's not that I don't want to find you, but you walked too far and couldn't find you at all. What's the point of always talking about this?" Lu Disheng was almost angry to death. He was angry that his son didn't understand him, and he was even more angry that this rascal told all the family affairs to outsiders. When he was looking for his son, he was indeed with Lin Manyun and did have 2 sons, but how did this conflict with finding his son? "Yes, a child of a few years old has walked so far. Lu Yi, you are riding a Hot Wheel, right?" Wan Qiqi asked. "No, I can do somersaults, and 1 somersault can travel 108,000 miles.
Lui answered it seriously.
No wonder you can't find it. It seems that your father can't be blamed for being cruel. Although he has a beautiful daughter in his arms and is busy giving birth to a son, who told you to do somersaults. You rewrite, I won't talk about this to him anymore." Lu Yi nodded, and the 2 of them sang in unison, just like singing a double act. With a loud bang, Lu Disheng was finally completely enraged and smashed the enamel pot on the table to the ground, and the tea and tea leaves splashed. Wan Qiqi reacted very quickly and pulled Lu Yi to hide behind Lu Chunchao. As a result, the tea splashed on Lu Chunchao, and several pieces of tea leaves stuck to her trouser legs. "Are you done yet?" "Wan Qiqi, this is my family's family affair. Please leave now." Lu Disheng stood up suddenly, with murderous aura. After all, he came out of the gunfire, and his aura was extraordinary. But Wan Chi dared to confront even the Lord of Hades, so how could she be afraid of him? How did He Jianjun's taking credit for someone else's work become a family affair? It's clearly a national affair. The chairman said that every citizen has a share of responsibility for the rise and fall of a country. As a poor peasant who grew up under the red flag, I have the responsibility to supervise whether you deal with He Jianjun fairly and justly. Wan Chi raised her head and confronted Lu Disheng. Although her voice was soft, she did not lose any momentum. She took a breath and said loudly, "Secondly, I am Lu Ye's marriage partner. Can't he take me home? Or are you not going to recognize Lu Yi as your son? If you don't want to recognize him, just give me a definite answer, and I'll take him home immediately." When Lu Disheng heard the chairman said, his head was 3 times bigger. This Wan Chi is more difficult to deal with than a mad dog. It seems that she is serious about fighting Lu Yi and is going to fight a protracted war. Although my father treats me badly, I still want to give him another chance. Lu Yi interrupted. He didn't want to break up with the old man yet. The old man's monthly salary was more than 400 yuan, and he couldn't let his stepmother and Lu Chunchao get away with it. You rewrite. Give him another chance to learn how to be a father. Besides, our family affairs must give way to national affairs. He Jianjun relied on his status as the commander's grandson-in-law to oppress his comrades, monopolize the credit, and act like a hooligan. He is really unforgivable. It's not too much to shoot him 10 times. Wan Chi immediately understood what Lu Yi meant and shifted the focus of the conflict to He Jianjun. She originally wanted He Jianjun to be expelled from the army and then tied to Lu Hongling, but now she changed her mind. She wanted to send this pair of dogs and witches to jail. Is it your turn to care about He Jianjun's affairs? This is the army's business. How can you, a country boy, be qualified? Lu Chunchao jumped up and cursed and poked Wan Chi with her unbroken left hand. This was her habit when quarreling, which she had developed since she was a child. She had to point at the other person when scolding, otherwise she wouldn't be able to use her power. Especially after entering the city, she suddenly became the commander's daughter. Her status rose, and she loved pointing at people even more. When she poked people in the eyes, she felt a sense of superiority. Wan Chi soft face suddenly sank. This time she didn't warn, but went straight to her.
Click-ah.
The sound of broken bones and Lu Chuancao's screams rang almost at the same time. No one in the room reacted, and they saw that Lu Chuancao's left index finger, like the index finger of her right hand, was twisted weakly. Wan Chi took out a handkerchief, wiped her hands elegantly, and said disdainfully, "Wash your hands before going out in the future. They smell like chopped green onions." "Nyang, nyao 3 times, you mother, I'm going to kill you." Lu Chunchao didn't care about the severe pain in her hands and rushed towards Wan Chi frantically. She brought out the momentum she had when she fought in the village that year. Today she must kill this little witch. "Nyang, nyao 3 times, you mother" is a swear word. It's very dirty. The author is very civilized, but he wrote it like this because of the character setting. What the Hades are you angry about? Do you have anything to be angry about? Are you angry at your dad or at your mother? Wan Chi dodged and cursed back. She was a man of both civil and military talents, and she could only curse more dirty than others, and she would never lose. Lu Disheng felt a stab in the chest and almost choked. He habitually reached for his waist, but touched nothing. Then he remembered that he kept his gun in the drawer at home. If it were in the past, he would definitely shoot this dead girl, who was full of nonsense. Your scabby daughter, relying on her grandfather being the commander, oppresses the people and bullies the villagers. He Jianjun's credit for snatching people was all supported by her. And your bunny son, can he now? Wan Chi teased Lu Chunchao around in circles in the living room, like a cat playing with a mouse. "I can't. It's cracked again. I had to get more than a dozen stitches."
Reborned.
How dare you say that? If you hadn't fed Hongba so many bananas, would he have diarrhea and cracked it? And you little witch, it's all your fault that Hongba was killed. I'm going to kill you. Lu Chunchao completely lost her mind. Her 2 children were ruined by Wan Chi. She must kill this witch and avenge her children. Lu Yi, are you tired of living? Instead of spending money on such expensive bananas, why don't you just go to the drugstore and get some croton seeds? Don't waste money like this in the future. Wan Qiqi looked at him disapprovingly. I know, you'll be in charge of the money after we get married. Lu Yi adapted well to the identity of a live-in son-in-law. He also planned to hand over his salary to Wan Qiqi for safekeeping after receiving it next month. Wan Qiqi looked at him approvingly. She would teach this guy about men's commandments later. Lu Chunchao chased too hastily, and her hand hurt so much that she stumbled and fell. She subconsciously pressed the ground with her right hand, and her right index finger was hit hard.
Ah!
It hurts so much. Lu Chunchao screamed worse than a pig being slaughtered, and the roof was almost overturned. Lu Disheng had a headache again. He didn't want to argue with Wan Qiqi anymore, and shouted with a dark face, I don't agree with you two being together, and I won't sign the marriage report. Sign it if you want. I'll let my stepfather sign it.
Lu Yes need it.
Mo Qiufeng also had the right to sign, and he didn't need to beg the old man. Lu Disheng's eyes darkened, and his body swayed. Lin Mannion quickly supported him, dissatisfied. Xiao Yi, don't be angry with your dad. He's not in good health. Isn't it you who is to blame for his poor health? An old man and a young wife. It's strange that they can be in good health. Lu Yi said sarcastically. At 40, they are like wolves and tigers, sitting on the ground and the soil, which is the age to absorb energy. It's not easy for your father to survive until now. Wan Qiqi was not sarcastic this time, and was really praising Lu Disheng. He is in his 60s, and it is not easy for him to live with a young wife who is 20 years younger than him. The anger that Lu Disheng had just suppressed was aroused again, rushing to the top of his head. Where is his gun? Bring my gun, go. Lu Disheng roared, asking Lin Mannion to get the gun. He must shoot this stinky boy today. Old Lu, calm down. Lin Mannion wanted to shoot Lu Yi, the mad dog, but she knew that she must not take the gun. Lu Disheng still cared about his son in his heart, and now he was just saying it in anger. Bring the gun, I'm going to shoot this beast. Lu Disheng's eyes turned red with anger. He pushed Lin Mannion away and told her to get the gun quickly. Lin Mannion lost her balance and took several steps back, almost falling. Xiao Yi, you have to make such a mess at home. Are you satisfied? Lin Mannion asked while crying, and did not forget to look at Lu Disheng aggrievedly. Sure enough, she succeeded in igniting Lu Disheng's anger. Don't tell this beast, I'm going to clean up the house today. Lu Disheng was about to go to the room to get the gun himself, but he heard a click. Lu Yi also took out his gun and opened the safety bolt. You're the only one who has a gun? I have one too, and my marksmanship is better than yours. Lu Yi raised the gun arrogantly, and the muzzle slowly moved, aiming at Lin Mannion's head. Beast, if you have the guts, come at me and shoot. Lu Disheng stood in front of Lin Mannion. The father and son were like enemies, one cursing and the other holding a gun. Lu Chunchao was so scared that she dared not make a sound. She quietly got up and retreated to the door, so that she could escape easily if he really shot. Do you think I dare not shoot? I'll shoot you today. Lu Ye's eyes were also red. In fact, he had thought about this shot a long time ago. Lin Mannion starved him for 3 days and locked him outside for a night in winter. During the most difficult 3 years, Lin Mannion often did not give him food. He could only eat when Lu Disheng was at home. In the end, she was reluctant to give him even this little ration and sent him to Lu Chuancao's house on the pretext of poor health. Lu Chunchao took the food coupons and money given by the old man, but did not give him food. She even deliberately added rat poison to the fried rice and put it on the table to tempt him. If he did not have special abilities and knew about this woman's vicious plan in advance, he would have died long ago. So he wanted to kill these people a long time ago. He restrained himself for a long time just for this one shot, and didn't fire it. It's not that he was soft-hearted, but he felt it was not worth it. His life is much more valuable than these people, and it would be a waste to exchange one life for another. But now, he really doesn't want to endure it anymore. When Lin Mannion was in danger, the old man stood in front without hesitation. When Lu Chuancao's family was bullied, The old man stood up for them. But he has experienced so many dangers and been bullied so many times. But the old man has never protected him or stood up for him, and even suppressed him, saying that he is the son of Lu Disheng and that he must have high standards and high requirements. Lu Yi raised a cruel sneer at the corner of his mouth and slowly pulled the trigger. No, Xiaoye, don't do anything stupid. Lin Manyun was terrified. Her only support was her husband. Her 2 sons had not yet made it in the army. Lu Disheng must not die. Lu Disheng's expression was calm, but his trembling body showed that he was not calm in his heart. He felt very sad. How could he and his son have come to this point today? Except for not fulfilling his responsibilities before the age of 10, after taking him home, he asked himself if he had ever let the child down. But why did the child always disobey and be unfilial? Why didn't he know how to be grateful? Lu Yi slowly lowered his hand, and the bullet was about to be fired. Lu Chunchao had already stepped out of the door, ready to run away at any time. Are you stupid? Your life is much more valuable than theirs. Wan Qiqi spoke up, stretched out her slender white fingers, and blocked the muzzle of the gun. My life is worth 2 lives, it's worth it. Lu Yi still refused to give up. He really wanted to kill him. It's worth nothing. Even if they have 10 lives, they are not as valuable as you. Now you are mine, Wan Qiqi's. You must be obedient and let it go. Wan Qiqi glared fiercely. Lu Yi grinned and let go obediently. Put it away. Don't fire it accidentally. Wan Qiqi took his gun, pulled the safety bolt skillfully, and put it into the holster on Lu Ye's waist. Seeing her skillful posture of playing with the gun, Lu Disheng narrowed his eyes, but Lu Yi was very calm. He had long seen that this girl was not an ordinary person and should have had the same adventure as him. Wan Qiqi is indeed very good at playing with guns. Because there is an arms genius in the mental hospital who is too obsessed with playing with weapons and is hospitalized. She buys materials from the internet and provides them to this genius to make weapons. It's just that the materials on the internet are too incomplete, otherwise this genius can even make missiles. Then she used her ability to count money to set up a shooting room in the mental hospital and went there to play with guns when she was bored. Although she didn't achieve the goal of hitting the target from 100 paces, it was definitely not bad. Let's go. Your house is boring and there is no human touch at all. Come to my house in the future. Wan Qiqi had to stop while she was ahead. If Lu Disheng continued to make trouble, he might have a cerebral hemorrhage. She dragged Lu Yi out, and when she reached the door, she pushed Lu Chunchao aside with force. Commander Lu, I hope you can remember your original intention. Handle this impartially and don't disappoint the people. Wan Qiqi turned her head and said that if Lu Disheng continued to protect He Jianjun and Lu Hongling, she would write a letter to the General Military Region to complain. Lu Disheng had a serious expression. He didn't feel good. He had been in the revolution for most of his life, but now he was accused by a yellow-haired girl. Was he really wrong? Such good land is not used to grow crops, but to grow useless flowers and plants. It's really a petty bourgeois style. Wan Qiqi's voice came from the yard. Lu Disheng had just reflected a little, but he was furious again. He was wrong. He shouldn't have had any illusions about this dead girl. This dead girl, like Lu Yi, is a mad dog. My stepmother often makes petty bourgeois whining, and the old man just falls for her. Lu Ye's voice sounded, and Lin Manyun in the room turned pale. Petty bourgeois is not a good word. Your father is uneducated and does not have a pair of discerning eyes, so he can't recognize your stepmother's hypocritical face. Wan Qiqi criticized Commander Lu without any politeness. Lu Disheng in the house was furious again, and he roared, "Come in if you have anything to say. Don't mutter outside." I said so loudly. Can't you hear it? It turns out that not only your eyesight is not good, but your ears are not working well either. Wan Qiqi stepped back into the house and yelled at the top of her voice, fearing that he couldn't hear her. She added, adding fuel to the fire, "You need to read more books to supplement your cultural knowledge. Only with cultural knowledge can you have inner talent and won't be deceived by bad people." Besides, the chairman said. Lu Disheng's head began to swell again, and he opened his mouth to stop her. He didn't want to listen to this dead girl at all. But Wan Chichi spoke faster than him and shouted. The chairman said that an uneducated army is a stupid army, and a stupid army cannot defeat the enemy. You are the head of an army, and you can't even see the true face of the person next to you. How can you lead an army to fight? You will lose. You are simply lawless, Lu Yi. Take her away and don't let her in again. Lu Disheng was really angry. What he was most proud of was his fighting ability. Although he could not be called an ever-victorious general, he often won battles. This girl actually dared to question his ability to fight. It was simply outrageous. Lu Yi rolled his eyes and ignored him. My feet are on my body. I can come and go as I please. Why are you showing off in front of me? Why don't you show off to your scabby granddaughter? Why don't you show off to your grandson? Why don't you show off to your little wife who abuses your stepson? You just think that my Lu Yi is honest and easy to bully. I tell you, Lu Yi is mine now. Don't even think about bullying him anymore. Wan Chichi also stepped in with her other foot to make it easier for her to curse. Lu Yi grinned. He loved listening to this girl talk. It was so nice. Lin Manyun's face changed drastically, and then she burst into tears, wanting to say a few words to defend herself, but Wan Chichi did not give her the chance. Please take back your tears. I'm not your man. I won't fall for your petty bourgeois tricks. Do you mean to say that you treat Lu Yi like your own son? Do you mean to say that you have a clear conscience? Everyone can say a few words, so swear on your conscience that you are really good to Lu Yi and have not abused him. If you lie, I will turn your 2 sons into rabbit gods. Do you dare to swear? Wan Chichi saw through Lin Manyun, a low-level witch. In her previous life, she read novels on her mobile phone and saw all kinds of witches. Lin Manyun was nothing like her. She knew that Lin Manyun cared about her 2 sons the most, and she certainly wouldn't dare to swear on her sons. Sure enough, Lin Manyun choked. She really didn't dare to swear. After all, she really felt guilty. What if her son really turned into a rabbit god? I have a clear conscience. There is no need to swear, and it's not your turn to talk about my family's affairs. Lin Manyun pretended to be angry and scolded, then looked at Lu Disheng aggrievedly. Get out. All of you get out. Lu Disheng was like a curled mouth, and Lin Manyun hooked it accurately and immediately started to attack him. You don't dare to swear because you are guilty, Lu Yi. Your grandfather knows it, he knows it very well, but he doesn't care about you. Don't worry about these trivial matters in the future. The chairman said if it rains, let it rain, and if your mother wants to marry, let him do it. Wan Chichi patted him on the shoulder several times, mocking him sarcastically. I know, I won't care about it anymore. Lu Yi was very obedient. When his voice came in, Lu Disheng felt uncomfortable. He looked at Lin Manyun with more suspicion in his eyes. Although the dead girl was crazy, what she said made sense. Why didn't his wife dare to swear? Was she really guilty? Lin Manyun's heart skipped a beat, and she quickly lowered her head to pretend to be sad. She didn't dare to look Lu Disheng in the face because she was guilty. The chairman said that if you have food in your hands, you won't be panicked. It would be a waste not to grow food on such good land. The chairman also said that corruption and waste are great crimes. I kindly reminded my petty bourgeois stepmother, but she didn't appreciate my kindness. She wanted to carry on the petty bourgeois to the end and harm the Lu family. Inspired by Wan Chichi, Lu Yi also brought out the quotations and put Lin Manyun on the highest moral point. Sure enough, Lin Manyun's face turned pale with fright, and she quickly said, Old Lu, I don't have any. I just like flowers. Lu Disheng's face was as dark as the dark clouds before a storm. Lin Manyun felt cold in her heart. It was the first time she saw her husband so scary. She didn't dare to speak anymore. She hated Wan Chichi and Lu Yi in her heart. The chairman said that food is the most precious treasure. If you don't have a handful of rice, the chickens won't come. Can you fill your stomach by eating flowers and grass during the war? Can you repel the enemy? You are the commander's lover, but you don't have any awareness at all. Wan Chichi snorted coldly and aimed at Lin Manyun with full firepower. Her awareness is all petty bourgeois. Lu Yi continued. Her awareness is low, but ours can't be low. We have to shovel out these capitalist weeds. Tomorrow I will bring some seedlings and plant them all. You should be more diligent and go home to fertilize the fields and water the plants. Let your petty bourgeois stepmother do these jobs. It's just right to correct her bad habits and stop causing trouble for the family all day long. What kind of fertilizer is best? Louis asked humbly. He was really unfamiliar with farming. The success of crops depends on manure. You just need to be diligent and go home too, and... Okay, I will definitely hold my at home and not outside. That's right. We can't waste it. Wan Qiqi said approvingly. She felt that chatting with Lu Yi was so exciting. No matter what she said, Lu Yi could quickly pick up. The frequency of their thoughts was quite consistent. As they talked, the color on Lin Manyun's face disappeared faster and faster, and her lips turned white. It was obviously just planting some flowers, but this couple brought it up to class struggle. How hateful. Old Lu, I won't plant flowers in the future. Lin Manyun took the initiative to admit her fault. She endured it today, and she will have plenty of ways to deal with them in the future. Sure enough, Lu Dishing's expression eased a lot. He liked Lin Manyun's knowledge and tact. But the sound of hoeing the ground outside made him frown again. He actually thought there was nothing wrong with planting some flowers, but these two rascals talked about quotations and class struggle. If he opposed it again, he would be caught. Louis shoveled all the flowers in the yard with ease, but he didn't the ground. Leave it to the stepmother to the land. The land tomorrow. I'll come to plant vegetables in the evening. Louis said as he entered the house, and without caring whether Lin Manyun agreed or not, he took Wan Qiqi away. What if your stepmother doesn't the land? Then she is against the people and is a reactionary. What if she lets her father the land? She knows that my father is in poor health, but she still lets him the land. She has bad intentions, comparable to Pan Jinlian. The voices of the two people drifted in slowly. Lin Manyun, who originally planned to ask Lu Dishing to the land, had to change her mind. The fire accumulated in her heart was about to burn her internal organs. Lu Dishing also withdrew the idea of helping his wife the land. He also felt that Lin Manyun should really do some work, otherwise she would be so delicate and would soon become a capitalist lady. Lu Chunchao was still standing at the door. It was not that she didn't want to go to the hospital, but she didn't dare to leave without Lu Dishing's permission. Dad, about He Jianjun. Lu Chunchao asked with courage. Why are you still here? You broke your hand, but you don't want to go to the hospital to fix it? Do you want to be A? Lu Dishing glared at him fiercely and turned back to his room. As for how Lu Chunchao was going to go to the hospital, he didn't care at all. It was just 2 broken fingers. Thinking back to the past, he had both legs broken, but he didn't leave the battlefield. Even if he had to crawl, he would fight the Japanese to the end. Lu Chunchao left angrily. She planned to come again tomorrow. One was to laugh at Lin Manyun, and the other was to plead for her daughter. If that didn't work, she would let He Jianjun take the blame. Louis sent Wan Qiqi back to the guest house. When he arrived at the door, he didn't go in, but smiled and said, I will write a marriage report when I go back. Write it, anyway you have to come. Wan Qiqi also smiled. She was not opposed to marrying Lu Yi. This guy was funny. So we're dating now, right? Louis asked in a low voice. Forget it. Can we kiss? Kissing means kissing, Louis asked with courage. He was already 25 years old, but he still didn't know what it felt like to kiss. He was a little greedy. Wan Qiqi looked at his red ears and laughed. She had never kissed before, but she was a little greedy. Lower your head. She dragged him into the house, closed the door, hooked Louis's head, and took the initiative to kiss him. The 2 lips touched each other, and their teeth hit each other. They gasped in pain, and there was a bit of blood in their mouths. Louis licked the blood on his lips, grinned, his eyes sparkling. He picked him up and put him on his lap. This time he took the initiative to kiss, and he learned from his lesson and kissed very gently. It only took a few minutes for the 2 people's kisses to go from unfamiliar to skilled, and then to lingering. Because they were both elementary school students and were very greedy, the kiss lasted for a long time, until they were about to die. Wan Qiqi licked her lips, feeling a little unsatisfied. Kissing tasted really good. No wonder men and women kissed each other to death in movies. It was not exaggerated at all. Do you want to kiss again? Liu Ye's voice was a little hoarse, and his eyes were fiery. He hadn't kissed enough. No wonder the veterans brag about the things they did on the Kong every day. This thing was really fun.
Quiche.
Wan Qiqi did not hesitate, and even moved his buttocks and kissed again in a different position. Hiss. Liu Yi took a breath of cold air, and the whole person seemed to be on fire, more fierce than a wolf that had been hungry for a whole winter. He held the girl's buttocks in his arms with one hand and pulled the chair with the other hand, then sat down with her in his arms and patted her buttocks a few times and said in a hoarse voice, "Don't move." That just now almost cost him his life. Focus, don't be distracted. Wan Qiqi was unhappy. He said he was going to kiss, but he was still doing so many small movements and not doing anything serious. But she always prefers to take the initiative to solve problems, so, before Liu Yi could move his mouth, she started to bite him. The first time is new, the second time is familiar, and the third time is just a soy sauce. The two of them were more passionate this time, and the blazing fire of love almost set the guest house on fire. Wan Qiqi's two paws were not very calm, and they kept touching him all over. 8-pack abs, mermaid lines, and a male dog waist. Oh my, she can have a big meal every day in the future. Don't move. Liu Yi held down a certain rebellious claw. His breathing was unstable. If he didn't stop it, his innocence would be in danger. Hurry up and file a marriage report. Learn from your old man. Be efficient. Wan Qiqi was also panting heavily. This era was too conservative, and this kind of thing could only be done after marriage. Write the report when you get back. Liu Yi chuckled, and seeing the swollen lips of the girl in his arms, he couldn't help but feel itchy, and kissed her again. Kissing is really addictive. He doesn't even want to go back to the military area now. He just wants to kiss until the end of time. Go back and go to the compound tomorrow. Wan Qiqi stood up, not reluctant at all. Kiss again. Liu Yi held the back of her head and kissed her hard, then let go. I'll pick you up tomorrow. Liu Yi walked away with a smile, and when he reached the stairwell, he could still be heard humming a song. The sun sets in the west, and the clouds are flying. The soldiers return to the camp after shooting. The red flowers on their chests reflect the colorful clouds, and happy songs are flying all over the sky. Then it ended with a full-bodied 1, 2, 3, 4. Wan Qiqi couldn't help laughing, closed the door, and went to the window to chat with the old ginkgo. Sister, you and that little boy kissed so loudly. The old ginkgo was like a gossipy woman, except that it had no face. Otherwise, it would definitely have a strange and gossipy face. Are you envious? Wan Qiqi asked calmly. The chatterbox old ginkgo was choked by her for several minutes and couldn't say a word. It was really envious because it had never kissed. It didn't even have a mouth. How could it kiss? Does your man brush his teeth? Does your man eat leeks? Does your man have dental tartar? Old ginkgo is indeed a seasoned veteran who has lived for hundreds of years. He managed to get his revenge and asked Wan Qiqi 3 questions in a row. The sweet and romantic feeling brought by the kiss is now gone, and only leeks and dental tartar are left. I'm going to burn you. Wan Qiqi gritted her teeth and took out a lighter and gasoline. I was wrong. Can I tell you a secret? Old ginkgo begged for mercy immediately. Wan Qiqi looked at it coldly, waiting for it to tell the secret to see if it was worth exchanging its life for a tree. Your man is the same as you, with spiritual energy, but not as strong as you. Old ginkgo just felt the spiritual energy on Liu Yi, the same as Wan Qiqi's, but not as much as hers. He can also communicate with trees? Wan Qiqi raised her eyebrows. She didn't expect this. No wonder Liu Yi could live independently at the age of 3. It's different. He is in other aspects. I can't see. The old ginkgo shook its head, and its branches and leaves rustled like rain. Wan Qiqi rolled his eyes, took out a lighter, and threatened. This secret is too small. It can only be worth half of your life. What other secrets are there? My life is not that valuable. Okay, do you want jewelry? In front of the ferocious Wan Qiqi, the old ginkgo was like a weak and helpless kitten, without any power to resist. It racked its brains and finally found a treasure trove from its long-abandoned memory bank. Under its guidance, Ruan Chichi broke off a piece of its branch, and according to the guidance of the broken branch, she found a long abandoned house at the end of the alley. The yard was overgrown with weeds and looked eerie. Just standing at the door was creepy. But Ruan Chichi was not afraid. She had strolled around the underworld casually, so this was nothing. The broken branch in her hand bent to the left, and the voice of the old ginkgo rang in her mind. Walk 15 steps to the left and dig 3 feet down. There is a treasure. Ruan Chichi took 15 steps to dig. When she dug 3 feet deep, she hit a hard object and made a dull sound. It was a rusty iron box, about 1 foot square, with 3 locks, but the locks were also rusted, so Ruan Chichi easily broke it open with a. There were several layers of oil paper wrapped inside, wrapped very tightly. She untied them layer by layer, and a stream of jewels shot out, a box full of jewels. Gorgeous and exquisite jewelry, colorful gems, warm and clear jade. Each one is not an ordinary item. The family who hid the treasure must be a wealthy family. If it were in the future, any of these jewels could be exchanged for a suite in the capital. She put the iron box into the space, filled the pit, and prepared to go back to the guest house. When passing by the ugly old camphor tree, Ruan Chichi felt like something was patting her. She looked back and saw no one, so she continued walking. But her head was patted again, this time with much greater force, and the feeling was particularly obvious. Come out, you sneak around. What kind of hero are you? Come out and fight me if you're brave enough. Ruan Chichi was furious, knocking to the ground, one hand on the waist, full of momentum. It's the ugly camphor tree. It wants you to treat it. The voice of the old ginkgo came out from Ruan Chichi's clothes. The broken branch was hidden in her clothes. As if responding to it, the old camphor tree shook its branches and leaves. Although it couldn't speak, Ruan Chichi could still feel its begging and helplessness. What disease did it have? Ruan Chichi asked. It was unlucky. When the Japanese planes bombed the city, it was bombed 3 times and became a fool. The old ginkgo tree sighed. Although it had a bad relationship with the old camphor tree in the past, and they quarreled every day before the war, it felt bad to see the old camphor tree become so stupid. It had a sad feeling of grief. Ruan Chichi realized that the reason why the old camphor tree was so ugly was that it was harmed by the Japanese devils. Japanese devils. Under the guidance of the old ginkgo tree, she hugged the old camphor tree, closed her eyes, and guided the breath in her body to the palm of her hand. The old ginkgo tree said that she had spiritual energy in her body and could help the old camphor tree get better. Ruan Chichi was a little unfamiliar at first, but gradually she got into the mood and forgot herself. The old camphor tree and the old ginkgo tree were shaking their trunks with joy, and the half of the old camphor tree that was destroyed by artillery fire also grew new buds, exuding vitality. Some small trees around were also shaking their branches and leaves happily. They also absorbed some spiritual energy and thanked Ruan Chichi. Thank you. The old camphor tree's voice was very steady, and it sounded more stable than the old ginkgo tree. Ruan Chichi opened her eyes, and she felt something more in her body, probably the spiritual energy that the old ginkgo tree mentioned. She helped the old camphor tree to heal, and she also gained a lot. They were a win-win cooperation. What do you have to thank me? Ruan Chichi didn't say you're welcome. She hated to say you're welcome the most. She just liked to help for a fee. A branch fell into her arms. Take it with you, and you can command all the camphor trees in the city, said the old camphor tree. Ruan Chichi picked up the camphor tree branch and looked at it. It was ordinary. Was it really that powerful? She picked up the old ginkgo branch again, and before she asked, the old ginkgo tree refused to admit defeat and said, I can also command all the ginkgo trees in the city. It wasn't possible before, but it has absorbed a lot of spiritual energy just now, so it can work now. Never lose to the old camphor tree. Ruan Chichi raised the corners of her mouth and put both branches into the space. There are many camphor trees and ginkgo trees planted in Tanjo City. With these 2 helpers, she is almost invincible in Tanjo City. The next day, she went to the post office to send a telegram to her hometown. The engagement has been cancelled, and I will be back in a few days. There was no electricity or telephone in Ruanjiawan, her hometown. The only way to contact the outside world was to write letters and telegrams. Unless there was something very urgent, they would go to the commune to call. He Jianjun called the commune to cancel the engagement, and then sent someone to Ruanjiawan to ask the original body to go to the commune to answer the phone, which was very troublesome. Sending a telegram is a little more convenient, but expensive. Unless it is a matter of life and death, no one is willing to send a telegram. Wan Chichi asked the staff. Punctuation marks are also counted as a word, so she saved the punctuation marks anyway. Her sister Xiaoxue was willing to. You will definitely understand it. 9 characters, 3.5 cents per character, a total of 31.5 cents, rounded up to 32 cents. Now an egg is only 2 cents, and 1 telegram can buy 16 eggs, which is really expensive. After paying the money, she went to the seed station to buy seeds, pumpkin, cucumber, pepper, green beans, leek, amaranth, etc. She bought a little of everything, so that Lin Manyun would be busy, so that she wouldn't have nothing to do and whisper in her ear every day. In the evening, Louis came to pick her up on his bike, and they returned to the compound. The yard was deserted, and Lin Manyun didn't dare to plant flowers anymore. "We're back," Wan Chichi shouted in the yard. Lin Manyun and Lu Disheng were having dinner. When they heard their voices, they lost their appetite and frowned. Lin Manyun felt as if her heart was being grasped by an iron claw. She was so uncomfortable that she couldn't breathe. When she thought about growing vegetables every day in the future, she wanted to kill these 2 witches. The reason why she married Lu Disheng, who was older than her father, was to become an official's wife and live a pampered life. She did so in these years, but now her good life was ruined by these 2 witches. She hated them so much.
Ouch.
"I have a headache, old Lu, I'm going to lie down." Lin Manyun used her best skills, pretending to be weak, and wanted to go back to the house to lie down. Lu Disheng didn't doubt it at all, and he was even more dissatisfied with Lu Yi and Wan Chichi. "I'll help you back to the house." Lu Disheng supported Lin Manyun considerately, and they had just walked a few steps when Wan Chichi came in. "Oh my God, Lu Yi, your stepmother is pregnant again." Wan Chichi yelled loudly, and Lu Yi, who was following behind, immediately said sarcastically, "What a strange thing, you can hit a target with a blank gun? I don't know whether the gun is empty or not, but your stepmother must be pregnant. Look at her appearance. Your scabby granddaughter was not as weak as her when she had a miscarriage." Wan Chichi's expression was serious, and even Lu Disheng looked at his wife suspiciously. "Is she really pregnant?" Lu Disheng couldn't help but show joy and a little pride. He was very confident in himself. The gun was definitely not empty. He was so strong that he could kill a cow. "No, I just have a headache." Lin Manyun quickly denied it. Her waist became 2 inches thicker after giving birth to 2 sons, and she didn't want to have another child. However, she and Lu Disheng only said that they were not in good health and needed to rest for a few years. But after Lu Disheng wore it for a few years, he refused to wear it and said that more children means more blessings, and hoped that she could have a few more children. Lin Manyun verbally agreed and secretly took birth control pills. Fortunately, she worked in a hospital and could get imported birth control pills, which were very effective, so she had not been pregnant all these years. Lu Disheng began to doubt his ability and got up every morning to run and exercise. Is there a drilling a hole in your head? You need help when you feel a little pain. My Lu Yi went up the mountain to dig wild vegetables to eat when he was 3 years old, but no one helped him. Wan Chichi said sarcastically and hummed a folk song again. Little cabbage? The ground is yellow, 3 or 2 years old, my mother is gone. Follow daddy, I'm so happy. I'm just afraid of my father marry a stepmother. Marry a stepmother 3.5 years. A younger brother was born better than me. Wan Chichi's singing was so plaintive that it made people's noses sore. Louis thought of his miserable childhood. His nose became even more sore, and he almost cried. Lu Disheng gritted his teeth, feeling very complicated. He knew that Louis had suffered a lot when he was a child, but that was not caused by him subjectively. Many children in that era were fostered. Louis was lucky. He was found and taken home by him when he was 10 years old. The children of many of his old comrades in arms have not been found until now. After finding his son, Lu Disheng believed that he had never treated him badly. It was just that he did raise his son roughly, but he certainly fulfilled his responsibilities. Lin Mannion was also very dedicated as a stepmother. What a shame that this rascal was sneering all day long. Lin Mannion was so angry that she couldn't pretend to have a headache anymore. She looked at Lu Disheng with tears in her eyes, without saying a word. Just looking at her with grievance was better than 1,000 words. "Stop singing. What are you doing here again?" Lu Disheng was successfully aroused and shouted angrily. "Wait, there is one more sentence. Once a song has begun, it must be finished. This is Wan Qiqi's good habit." She continued to sing sadly. "My brother eats noodles. I want to drink soup. Pick up the bowl, my eyes are full of tears. My eyes are full of tears." After singing, Wan Qiqi grinned at Lu Disheng and asked sincerely, "Did I sing well? What are you doing here again?" Lu Disheng's head was 3 circles big. He was really afraid of this crazy girl. He couldn't hit her, and she didn't react even if he scolded her. This crazy girl was as thick-skinned as a city wall, and she didn't understand what people said. She was very crazy. "Send seeds to your little wife. We agreed yesterday. Here, pumpkin, cucumber, pepper, green beans, leek, amaranth, cabbage, I bought them all. Plant the seeds today, and in summer, you will have a rich harvest of fruits and vegetables, and your little wife's petty bourgeois problem can also be eradicated. Don't you think it's killing 2 birds with 1 stone?" Wan Qiqi took out a dozen small paper bags from the bag, all marked with the name of the vegetables. "I'm not in good health and can't farm. Xiaoye, since you don't like flowers, the land in the yard is handed over to you. You can grow vegetables." Lin Mannion had made up her mind last night. She would never compromise. If she could be asked to farm today, she could be asked to get out tomorrow. She had been fighting with Lu Yi for so many years and had won every time. This time, she would definitely win too. The smile on Wan Qiqi's face disappeared instantly. She threw a dozen packets of seeds on the ground, put her hands on her waist, and said loudly, "Lu Yi is a PLA soldier who defends our country. The chairman said that the soldiers on the front line shed blood and sacrificed their lives, and our families must guard the rear. As a military family member, you have no awareness at all. You've been doing nothing but dragging your feet. You are in poor health when you are asked to farm. You used to be in good health when you beat Lu Yi, but you knocked out 3 teeth of my Lu Yi." She made up this quotation. Anyway, the couple had no culture and would definitely not read the quotation seriously. Besides, the chairman said so many things, and no one could guarantee whether he had said them or not. "When did I beat Xiao Yi? Old Lu, I'm innocent. I was sincere to Xiao Yi and even neglected the liberation and aid to Korea. How could he throw dirty water on me like this? I won't live anymore." Lin Mannion covered her face and sobbed. Lu Jiefeng and Lu Yuanchao were her 2 biological sons. Lu Disheng had some doubts at first, but they were dispelled by her tears. He also felt that Lu Yi was really heartless and an ungrateful person. "Cry, cry, is your father dead or your mother dead? Or is your son dead? Tears are so worthless. Why don't you go to the front line and cry the enemy to death?" Wan Qiqi was headached by this woman's crying. She hated people crying around her the most, which was more annoying than mosquitoes. Furious, Wan Qiqi had a seizure. She rushed forward and slapped her with her backhand. Lin Mannion was stunned by her. She was the commander's wife. How dare this little witch hit her? Old Lu, she hit me." Lin Mannion covered half of her face and shouted aggrievedly, "I hit you. You are crying for your son's funeral. Go grow vegetables. If there is no harvest in summer, you are the enemy of the people." Wan Qiqi slapped him again with her backhand, and then she was satisfied. She also had a good habit of doing everything in a coherent manner. If she was slapped on the left side of the face, she would definitely slap the right side as well. Otherwise, she would not be able to sleep all night. Lu Yi was also shocked at first, and then he was overjoyed, grinning foolishly with his teeth bared. Lu Disheng finally reacted, and in anger he subconsciously reached for his waist, but still touched nothing. "Wanna point a gun at me? You two are really of the same character, both enemies of the people." Wan Qiqi sneered, not afraid of the murderous Lu Disheng at all. No matter how fierce Lu Disheng is, he can't be more murderous than the king of Hades, so she is not afraid.
You.
"You are simply lawless. Don't think I really dare not do anything to you." Lu Disheng was about to explode with anger. He had fought countless battles and faced countless enemies, but Wan Qiqi's unconventional madness caught him off guard. He couldn't kill her and he couldn't scold her. He was really unlucky to meet such a crazy girl. Seeing Lu Ye's smug and silly look, Lu Disheng was furious and raised his hand to teach him a lesson. Wan Qiqi quickly stood in the middle and raised her hand to block Lu Disheng's arm. She was quite strong and fought Lu Disheng to a draw. Men who are domineering at home are all paper tigers. You can only show off in front of Lu Yi. Have He Jianjun and Lu Hongling been brought to the military court? Has Lu Hongba, the rabbit god, gone to the farm for reform? Has the land in the yard been planted? You don't do anything serious all day long. You just know how to bully my Lu Yi. What kind of father are you? Wan Qiqi was going crazy without restraint. She was full of energy and could fight on the battlefield. Anyway, she had 9 lives and was not afraid of death. And it was really fun to go crazy. She especially enjoyed it. Lu Ye's mouth was almost grinning to the back of his ears. It was the first time that someone protected him. It felt so good. "Qiqi, I will be a member of the Wan family from now on." Lu Yi hid behind Wan Qiqi, like a young wife, fanning the flames openly. "Be good. No one will dare to bully you in the future. I will protect my people." Wan Qiqi gently patted the big hand that was around her waist. The sweet interaction between the two almost Lu Disheng, but he quickly calmed down. After all, he was the commander. Although his brain was not very smart, he was not that stupid. These two rascals were deliberately him off. He couldn't fall into their trap. "Go plant the vegetables." Lu Disheng asked Lin Mannion to plant vegetables. He finally understood that with Lin Mannion around, these two people would still go crazy. "Old Lu, she hit me. I'm the elder." Lin Mannion was almost mad. She was slapped twice for no reason and she just let it go. "Where is your uncle, elder? I call you grandma. Do you dare to agree?" Wan Qiqi raised her hand and looked at her sinisterly. If this woman dared to agree, she would beat her. Lin Mannion didn't dare to agree. She was afraid of being beaten. But she couldn't swallow this breath, so she could only ask Lu Disheng for support. But Lu Disheng was also annoyed and felt that Lin Mannion was a little squeamish. The yard was just a tiny piece of land. How hard could it be to grow some vegetables? Why was she being pretentious? "Mannion, go grow vegetables." Lu Disheng lowered his voice, his eyes dissatisfied. Lin Manyun's heart sank. Knowing that he was angry, she had to swallow her anger and went out to grow vegetables with the seeds. "Plant well. I will come to check often." Wan Qiqi's voice floated over. Lin Manyun's back teeth were almost broken. After being married to Lu Disheng for 23 years, this was the first time she suffered such a great injustice. This Wan Qiqi was a scoundrel who didn't care about food or coldness and would not listen to soft or hard words. It must be that Lu Yi deliberately came back to her off. After teaching Lin Mannion a lesson, Wan Qiqi looked at Lu Disheng. It was time to deal with this scumbag father. "Wan Qiqi, I don't agree with your marriage to Lu Yi. My family affairs have nothing to do with you. Please respect yourself and don't come to my house shamelessly." Lu Disheng spoke very seriously. It was the first time for him to say such serious words to a young girl. Mainly because he was afraid that he spoke too lightly and it would have no effect on Wan Qiqi, the crazy woman. His vision was still too narrow. In fact, even if he spoke 10 times more seriously, it would still have no effect on Wan Qiqi. She never wastes herself, but only drives others crazy. I respect myself and love myself very much. When I was dating Lu Yi, I didn't shamelessly get pregnant. I'm still a Lu Yi and I didn't bully others or steal other people's credit. You should say these words to Lu Hongling. Wan Qiqi rolled her eyes with disdain and said, "If He Jianjun and Lu Hongling are not punished as they should be, I will go to the Jiangcheng military region to file a complaint, accusing you, Commander Lu, of condoning your children to bully others, act tyrannically, and gather a crowd to cause chaos, and that you, Commander Lu, are also sheltering criminals." Gulp, gulp. It was the sound of Lu Dishing gritting his teeth. The veins on his forehead were jumping like earthworms. If it was on the battlefield, he would definitely shoot. This yellow-haired girl is too unruly and outspoken. He would never agree to let this dead girl enter the Lu family. But he also knew that Wan Qiqi did have the courage to go to the general military region to complain, and the matter of He Jianjun could not be delayed any longer. "I will naturally deal with He Jianjun impartially. There is no need for you, a yellow-haired girl, to remind me. Lu Yi, take him away." Lu Dishing's eyes were intimidated, warning Wan Qiqi not to go too far, otherwise it would be easy for him, a commander, to discipline a little girl. And there are Lu Hongling and Lu Hongba. Don't avoid the important issues. Wan Qiqi reminded. "Deal with it as you should. There is no need to talk to you about work matters. Get out of here." Lu Dishing issued an order to expel him. Wan Qiqi also stopped while she was ahead. She was afraid that if she continued to go crazy, she would make the old man angry to death. "Goodbye, I'll be back." Wan Qiqi left behind a classic catchphrase of Hui Tailiang and pulled Lu Yi away. When passing by Lin Manyun, she said, "Plant well, and don't forget to water with manure." Lin Manyun gritted her teeth and ignored her. "I almost forgot I had to." Lu Yi slapped his forehead and came out after a few minutes, holding a large basin of fresh boys. This basin was exactly Lin Manyun's wash basin, which he picked specially. He put the basin up in the corner of the yard, snorted provocatively at Lin Manyun with a dark face, went to wash his hands, and then walked away with Wan Qiqi. "Old Lu, we can't live like this anymore." Lin Manyun's collapsed screams were heard from behind, mixed with crying. Wan Qiqi and Lu Yi smiled at each other, both in a good mood. In a good mood, the two went for a big meal, spending Lu Dishing's money, and enjoyed the meal very much. Wan Qiqi did not ask Lu Yi about the spiritual energy. Everyone has their own secrets, and she would not take the initiative to tell her secrets. 3 days passed. He Jianjun's mood was up and down during these 3 days. He was absent-minded in doing anything. The last time he was called for questioning, he confessed everything, and there was no movement afterwards. These 3 days of waiting were like a death row prisoner waiting for the verdict. It was too torturous. It was time to wash up in the morning. He Jianjun and others were washing up at the faucet. 2 mighty soldiers came over and said majestically, "He Jianjun, come with us." Bang! He Jianjun shuddered, and the toothbrush in his hand fell to the ground. His face turned pale instantly, and his calves began to tremble. "It's over. He must go to the military court." Can I go pack some clothes?" He Jianjun wanted to call Lu Hongling to ask what was going on. "I'll give you 10 minutes. "Thank you, comrade." He Jianjun walked towards the office building, but the 2 soldiers followed him like a shadow. He could only go back to the dormitory to pack his clothes. Everyone else looked at each other, especially the few who tried to curry favor with He Jianjun. They exchanged glances and went back to the dormitory. "Jianjun, I've taken the cured fish. You can't eat it anyway." The person who delivered the cured fish took it away rudely. He was going to the military court anyway, so what was the point of currying favor with him? "Where's my pack of xiaomei? Give it back to me quickly." The fellow villager who delivered the cigarettes reached out and took out the xiaomei from He Jianjun's trouser pocket. Seeing that there were only 10 cigarettes left, he was so angry that he cursed. "You." He Jianjun was furious, but he endured it. It wasn't the end yet, and he couldn't be discouraged. As long as he and Lu Hongling were husband and wife, he wouldn't lose. He Jianjun's punishment came quickly. He was removed from his platoon leader position, expelled from the army, and had to stand trial by a military court. At least 3 years. Lu Ye's tone on the phone was very excited. He called Wan Qiqi specifically to tell her the good news. "Where's Lu Hongling?" Wan Qiqi asked. The old man wanted to keep Lu Hongling and let her retire. Lu Yu was not too disappointed. This result was already a great improvement. Otherwise, He Jianjun would at most retire. It's okay. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future. Wan Qiqi smiled. It was boring to kill them all at once. She could deal with Lu Hongling next time. But can you ask the military district to send a document of expulsion from the army back to He Jianjun's hometown? The document has been sent out to your brigade. I sent it personally. Lu Yi asked in a tone that seemed to be asking for praise.
Great.
I'll go back to my hometown the day after tomorrow. You should file a marriage report and come to my hometown to get married. Wan Qiqi was also generous with her praise. Lu Yi's madness was different from hers. She had no reason to go mad. She just went mad whenever she wanted. Lu Yi went mad to attract the attention of adults and to get their affirmation. In the final analysis, he was just a child who lacked love and had been looking for the love he had missed in his childhood. Okay. Lu Yi readily agreed. He had already handed over his marriage report to Mo Qiufeng. If all went well, he would be able to visit Ruanjiawan next month. The next day, Wan Qiqi went to buy some yellow paper and red paper. She had been out for so long, and she had to bring back some Tanzhou specialties. There were quite a few in the space, but the packaging was not good, so she had to use the current packaging. In the afternoon, she went to the hospital. Lu Hongling was still in the hospital to protect the fetus. Lu Chunqiao had concealed He Jianjun's affairs from her, fearing that she would be stimulated and have a miscarriage. Lu Hongling looked very bad, lying on the bed dozing off. She was the only one in the ward. Wan Qiqi tiptoed to the bedside and whispered in her ear, He Jianjun has been shot. The baby in your belly has no father. You're talking nonsense. Lu Hongling hadn't slept at all. She was so anxious to get out of bed, go call her mother to find out. Yes, I was talking nonsense. He Jianjun was not executed, nor was he imprisoned, nor was he expelled from the army. Your baby's father is alive and well. Wan Qiqi looked at her with a smile. The more she said this, the more panicked Lu Hongling felt. He Jianjun had not come to the hospital for several days, and there was no phone call. Could he really have been executed?
Impossible.
Grandpa would not be so cruel. Lu Hongling was furious. She felt a heavy feeling in her lower abdomen. There was heat between her legs. 2 streams of blood flowed from her trouser legs to the ground. Your baby fell out. Oh, what a deep father-son relationship. It went downstairs to find its father. Wan Qiqi whistled happily and ran to the corridor and shouted, Someone, the pregnant woman is bleeding. Someone is going to die. A nurse rushed over and saw Lu Hongling's miserable condition. She was so scared that she screamed and called the doctor. Wan Qiqi left with a successful career. Wan Qiqi didn't leave immediately. She went to the anorectal department. Lu Hongba was still in the hospital. She went to see how the rascal was recovering. However, she searched the anorectal department's inpatient building and couldn't find Lu Hongba. Just then, a young female nurse came over. Wan Qiqi stopped her and asked politely, Comrade, may I ask which ward Lu Hongba is in? Which Lu Hongba is it? The one who was stabbed by Deputy Director Shi's son. Wan Qiqi patted her ace and squinted her eyes. The female nurse understood immediately and pointed upstairs, whispering, The innermost room on the left on the 3rd floor. Thank you. You're a good comrade of the people. You're welcome. Serve the people. The female nurse straightened her back and answered passionately. Wan Qiqi waved at her and went up to the 3rd floor. She easily found Lu Hongba. He was in a single room, lying on his side facing inward, with food on the bedside table. Fruits, canned food, malted milk, snacks, etc., all of which were sent by others. The title of the commander's grandson is really useful. His ace has been stabbed and broken, but there are still so many people rushing to curry favor with him. Lu Hongba couldn't sleep. He lay down from morning to night, and he was almost sick, but his ace hadn't healed yet, so he could only lie down. Suddenly, a pair of cold hands covered his eyes, the kind of coldness that came from underground. Lu Hongba shivered and reached out to pull the hands from his eyes. Guess who I am? A charming and soft voice sounded behind him. Lu Hongba grinned and showed an ambiguous smile. He guessed very cooperatively. Lily? He thought it was a girl who had a crush on him and was playing a little game with him. Hateful. I knew you had someone else in your heart, and you said you only liked me. So annoying. Wan Chichi said coquettishly and took back one hand, took out Warren pills, laxatives, from the space, and fed them into Lu Hongba's mouth. I'll punish you by taking laxatives so that you will only have Lily in your heart. I have you in my heart too. You're Hong Hong, right? Lu Hongba swallowed the pill with a smile, not believing it was really a laxative. Those women all wanted to marry him. How could they bear to give him a laxative? During the days in the hospital, none of the girls he had dated before came to see him, and Lu Hongba felt very uncomfortable. He was used to enjoying the pride of being surrounded by girls, and suddenly it became cold and deserted, and he couldn't adapt. Now it was not easy for a girl to come to see him and play fun games with him. Even if the girl said it was arsenic, he would swallow it. So good. Seeing him swallow the pill, Wan Chichi praised him generously and coaxed him in a low voice. Don't open your eyes. We are playing the game of wooden man. The loser will be spanked. We are all wooden men, no talking, no moving. As soon as she finished speaking, Lu Hongba obediently stopped moving, not even opening his eyes. Very obedient. Wan Chichi was a little soft-hearted. She couldn't bear to kill such a good toy. Unfortunately, she promised her original body that she would take revenge, and Lu Hongba must die. Forget it. 3-legged frogs are hard to find, and 2-legged men are everywhere, so there is no need to worry about the. Time passed by, and Lu Hongba still maintained a motionless posture, but his stomach was not willing to cooperate, gurgling a few times, abdominal pain, and a few smelly farts, and the chrysanthemum that had finally recovered a little was almost broken again. Lu Hongba endured for a few minutes and finally couldn't help it and shouted, I want to go to the toilet. The game is paused. There was no response behind him, and he finally realized that something was wrong. He turned his head, and there was no Hong Hong. The door of the ward was open, and Hong Hong had disappeared long ago, and there was no food left on the bedside table.
Ouch.
Lu Hongba didn't care whether it was Hong Hong or Lily, and rushed into the health center with his hands on his stomach. He fell down 3,000 feet, and his chrysanthemum broke again, bleeding like a stream, and the toilet was full of red. Lu Hongba had been defecating in the bathroom for nearly an hour. Wan Chichi gave him the amount of fluids that 3 adults could use, which was enough to make a cow feel good. He was almost dead, and almost fainted. Don't let me catch that witch. Lu Hongba cursed helplessly. He thought it was a little fun for the girl who admired him, but it turned out that she gave him real laxatives. It must be sent by that rascal Lu Yi again. This rascal tried to kill him again and again. Why didn't he get poisoned by that bowl of fried rice? Wan Chichi happily went downstairs. Lu Hongling had been sent to the operating room for rescue. Lu Chunchao also rushed over and sat at the door of the operating room with a worried look on her face. Lu Chuancao's 2 index fingers were still wrapped in thick gauze. She looked very haggard. Obviously, she had not been doing well these days. Wan Chichi squatted in the corner and waited. This time, she didn't wait long. In less than half an hour, the doctor came out. The baby was not saved. I told you that the mother's body was very weak and could not bear any stimulation. Why didn't you listen? The doctor accused. Doctor, how is my daughter? Lu Chunchao could not take care of the child. She was more concerned about her daughter's safety. Not very good. Family members should take good care of her, just like sitting in confinement after childbirth. She needs to recuperate for at least a month, otherwise it will affect her future fertility. I see. Thank you, doctor. Lu Chunchao breathed a sigh of relief. It was good that she could still give birth again. He Jianjun's useless child was aborted. She would find another capable young man for her daughter in the future. Lu Hongba was pushed out. She was not awake yet. She was sleeping with a pale face. Lu Chunchao was heartbroken. Among the 3 children, she loved her daughter the most. Because her daughter had suffered with her since she was young, she knew how to feel sorry for her at a young age and even stood up for her to deal with her parents-in-law. On the contrary, The two sons had never suffered. After the eldest son was born, she recognized Lu Disheng not long after. After knowing that her father was a high-ranking official, her husband's family changed their attitude and became extremely polite to her and her children. Therefore, Lu Chunchao always felt that she owed her daughter and treated her better than her son. Lu Hongling was pushed into the ward. As soon as Lu Chunchao entered the ward, a nurse came to her and said, "Lu Hongba is not in good condition. Go and check it out." What happened to Hongba? Lu Chuancao's ace just touched the chair, and she stood up again in a hurry. She stood up too quickly, and her body swayed. Her right hand subconsciously supported on the wall. There was a sharp pain in her index finger, and she almost choked with pain. The wound has cracked and a lot of blood has flowed. I have told your family many times that you must pay attention to the food. Last time you ate rotten bananas and this time you ate laxatives. You want to kill the patient, right? The nurse was very dissatisfied. The hospital was busy, and the patients and their families were unwilling to cooperate well, increasing their workload. It was really annoying. Who gave Hongba the laxative? Who is so cruel? Lu Chunchao was angry and anxious. She didn't care about her daughter, who was still unconscious. She ran to the third floor. The doctor had already treated Lu Hongba's wound, but he was bleeding too much and his face was paler than a dead person. If you keep eating like this, your ace will be lost. The doctor warned seriously. Lu Chuancao's eyes went dark and her body swayed a few times. She suddenly felt weak. She hadn't been so exhausted for many years. Her son and daughter had accidents one after another. What bad luck did her family have? Wan Qiqi hid in the dark, admiring Lu Chunchao like a spinning top, running between the first and third floors. After taking care of her son's chrysanthemum, she had to go to her daughter's confinement. After a few trips, Lu Chunchao was exhausted. After admiring Lu Chuancao's exhaustion, Wan Qiqi was in a very good mood. She hummed a song and left the hospital. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was still early before dark. She rolled her eyes and thought of another idea to play a trick on her. He Jianjun will definitely go to jail, but Lu Hongling and her brother may not. Lu Disheng will definitely do everything he can to protect them. She didn't want to take down both of them at once, just kill one. As for which one, let Lu Chunchao choose. Wan Qiqi took out the branch given by the old camphor tree and walked to a camphor tree on the roadside. She patted the camphor tree with the branch. The camphor tree, which had been quiet, suddenly shook, as if it was shy. Before Wan Qiqi could speak, the camphor tree shook several times again. Although a tree has no face or features, she felt flattery from this camphor tree. Ask it where Deputy Director Sure is? Wan Qiqi said to the old camphor tree. The camphor tree on the roadside was so excited that it was like cramping, and it started to rain camphor leaves. Wan Qiqi had several leaves on her head and body. No one knew how they communicated. The old camphor tree replied, "The boy doesn't know where Deputy Director Sure is." Wan Qiqi, I wonder if you guys have been chatting for so long? The two trees chatted so enthusiastically that she thought they knew everything about Deputy Director Sure. Zizi is very filial and sensible. He likes to listen to me talk about the past, so I said a few more words. The tone of the old camphor tree was still unsatisfied, and it was obvious that it wanted to continue chatting. Wan Qiqi got up and walked away. This camphor tree was skinny and must have been planted only a few years ago. She had to find an older one. After crossing a road, she found a camphor tree with lush branches and leaves. The older it was, the more stable it was. Facing the same old camphor tree, this one was not so excited and did not drop any leaves on her head. The old camphor tree chatted with it for a few words and successfully found out about Deputy Director Sure. He goes to his treasure hiding place every day. Wan Qiqi's eyes lit up. There was a treasure. She liked it. Are you guys still chatting? Wan Qiqi thought that the old camphor tree liked to chat with the younger generation, but the old camphor tree shook its branches a few times. No more chatting. This kid is not very good at talking. The kid in front is more interesting. At such a young age, he is more serious than a tree that is hundreds of years old, so chatting is really boring. Wan Qiqi twitched his lips. Sure enough, no matter what kind of creature, they all like to flatter. The camphor tree in front is a sweet-mouthed person who can flatter the leader in the unit. He can't do serious things and can only flatter. The leader likes this kind of flatter. This older camphor tree is a doer who is dumb in talking. The leader doesn't like this kind of subordinate but likes to let people do things. He is a thankless old ox who works hard and can't get along in the unit. Following the guidance of the old ox camphor tree, Wan Chi-Chi easily found the treasure hiding place of Shi Jinghong. It was in a dark alley. The house was not big. It looked ordinary from the outside, but it was a different world inside. The TV, tape recorder, washing machine, refrigerator, and electric fan are all new, and the furniture is made of high-grade wood. Wan Chi-Chi suspects that the top leader of Tanzhou City may not have such a luxurious house. Shi Jinghong is still in the house. Wan Chi-Chi did not go in. She climbed a tree and happened to be able to see the living room through the window. At this moment, Shi Jinghong is counting his treasures in the basement. In the past few years as deputy director, he has raided countless houses and collected a lot of treasures. At first, he wanted everything. In recent years, his vision has become higher. He doesn't even look down on treasures that are not priceless. The basement is full of boxes, more than 30 large and small. Some of the boxes are covered with dust. Obviously, they have not been opened for a long time. Shi Jinghong opened a smooth and dust-free wooden box, and a golden light shot out. It was full of gold bars. He rubbed the surface of the gold bars lovingly, like caressing a lover, with an intoxicated and blurred expression on his face. What he liked most was gold, followed by jewelry. He had no idea about those so-called priceless antiques, and he put them in boxes to collect dust after collecting them. Whenever he had time, he would come here to look at the gold. He would be happy all day long by touching it every day, and he became more motivated to play tricks on people. How could his treasure room be filled without defeating those evil capitalists? Shi Jinghong opened a few more boxes, which were full of gold bars, dollars, and jewelry. After he admired them one by one, he opened a box covered with dust, which was full of calligraphy and paintings, wrapped tightly with oil paper. He took a few paintings at random, all of which were works of famous artists. It seemed that there was also a piece of calligraphy written by the emperor. The unlucky emperor was not very good at being an emperor, but he was quite good at painting and writing, and it was said to be very valuable. He wanted to give these paintings to others. His son suffered such a big loss this time, all because of that little beast Lu Hongba. He said that he would take this little beast to the farm to punish him. But Lu Disheng, that old fellow, was protective of his own people, and he would still use a gun to do so. He would definitely not be able to win in a head-on fight, so he wanted to ask his cousin, who was a leader in the Jiangqing military region, for help. As long as his cousin was willing to help, Lu Disheng would definitely not dare to say a word. Jiangqing was the headquarters military region, and Tanzhou was the branch military region. No matter how capable Lu Disheng was, he would not dare to go against Jiangqing. His cousin loved calligraphy and antiques the most, so gifts had to be given to the person who liked them, otherwise they would be in vain. He was able to become the deputy director in these years, all thanks to his gift-giving skills, so he clung to his cousin's thigh. Wan Chi-Chi's legs were numb from squatting on the tree. Finally, Shi Jinghong came out. After he locked the door, she swung on the branch. There was a osmanthus tree in the yard, which stretched out its branches to catch her steadily, and then swung gently to the ground. "Thank you." Wan Chi-Chi patted the osmanthus tree and gave it some spiritual energy. The osmanthus tree was so happy that its branches shook, as if it had eaten Tang Monk's flesh. She smiled. Plants are still simple. Her golden finger is really good. She didn't know what Lu Ye's golden finger was. She was a little curious. With the guidance of the osmanthus tree, Wan Chi-Chi easily found the treasure room. She put on plastic bags and gloves on her feet. The criminal investigation technology in the 1970s was quite powerful. It would not be wrong to be careful. More than 30 boxes were piled up into a small mountain. She didn't open them. She put them all into the space, leaving none. The furniture and electrical appliances in the living room were also collected. She also found a small box in the bedroom, which was filled with brand new tickets for the Great Unity and various tickets. TV tickets, bicycle tickets, sewing tickets, wine tickets, cigarette tickets, cloth tickets, meat tickets, national food tickets, etc. are all necessary for the people's lives nowadays. Wan Chichi picked them casually and found 2 bicycle tickets, 3 sewing tickets, only 1 TV ticket, 5,000 kilograms of national food tickets, and an incredible amount of cash, 58,000 yuan. She took them all without hesitation. Moreover, she found a small notebook at the bottom of the box. When she opened it, she saw that the words were crooked and there were typos. At 8:15 p.m. on May 15, 1968, the third sister-in-law received 1,000 kilograms of national food tickets and 3 calligraphy and paintings. At 9 p.m. on August 20, 1969, the third sister-in-law received 5,001 TV ticket and 5 calligraphy and paintings. At 7 p.m. on October 5, 1970, the third sister-in-law received 6,006 calligraphy and paintings and 20 small yellow croakers. Wan Chichi flipped through a few pages. Most of them were gifts for the third sister-in-law, and the amounts were getting bigger and bigger. There were also other people's names, which appeared less frequently, and the amounts were not that high. Obviously, this third brother was the support for Shi Jinghong to become the deputy director, otherwise he would not have invested so much. She also put the small notebook into the space, in case she would need it to deal with Shi Jinghong in the future. She cleared out everything in the house, leaving nothing behind. She removed the door panels and took them back to her hometown as firewood, then swung out of the yard holding the osmanthus tree. The camphor tree outside also caught her steadily and put her on the ground. Wan Chichi also gave the camphor tree a little bit of spiritual energy and received its sincere gratitude. It wrapped her with its branches and swung her on the swing. She almost swung out her breakfast. Half an hour later, she arrived at the office building of the Tanzhou Cutting Tail Society, where Shi Jinghong had an independent office. "I'm going to Jiangcheng, send me a car." Shi Jinghong was on the phone. He wanted to rush to Jiangcheng to deliver the gift immediately. Wan Chichi was lying on the magnolia tree outside the office window at this moment. There were 2 trees outside the window, a sycamore and a magnolia. The sycamore had only some tender buds and was still bare. She could only choose the magnolia, with more leaves. The magnolia is very similar to the magnolia flower of the loquat tree and is super fragrant. She took out a pen and paper and wrote a sentence with her left hand. Lu Disheng's granddaughter Lu Hongling got married for 3 days and is 2 months pregnant. She just had a miscarriage and is in the People's Hospital. He crumpled the paper into a ball and threw it onto the table in the office. Shi Jinghong reacted quickly. He immediately ran to the window, looked around, and looked in the tree, but Wan Chichi had already hidden in the space. He opened the note and took a look and was immediately overjoyed. If he couldn't deal with Lu Hongba, he could deal with his sister. This Lu Hongling was a complete hooligan. Let's see what Lu Disheng has to say. Shi Jinghong made another call and said with great momentum, "Xiaoli Xiaozhang, take a few people to the door and wait." He would go to the hospital now to catch the female hooligan Lu Hongling. When writing about Magnolia grandiflora, I thought of a joke. A former colleague of mine had a cough for a long time, and neither medicine nor injections worked. She heard that boiled loquat leaves and honey water could relieve cough, so she ran out to pick loquat leaves, boiled water, and drank it for a week, and her cough was actually cured. Then her mother-in-law saw the remaining leaves in the refrigerator and said they were Magnolia grandiflora leaves. Fortunately, they were not poisonous.
Haha.
Wan Chichi came down from the tree only after Shi Jinghong and his gang left. She was planning to leave, but when she saw that the window was not closed, she changed her mind. Shi Jinghong had just brought in a few paintings and calligraphy, and she had to take them. She climbed in easily through the window and saw that Shi Jinghong had locked the paintings and calligraphy in a drawer. A mere lock could not do anything to her. Wan Chichi took out a wire cutter from the space and easily cut the lock. In the drawer, besides the red-headed documents, there were paintings and calligraphy, as well as some cash and food coupons. Except for the documents, she took everything else, then climbed out of the window and slipped away. At this time, the members of the Cutting Tail Society were all outside playing tricks on people. The office building was deserted, and no one saw her at all. It was getting dark outside. Wan Qiqi slowly walked back to the guest house. When passing by the post office, she called Lu Yi. "I was just about to go to the guest house to find you. I have good news for you." Lu Hongba was caught by the Cutting Tail Society. Lu Ye's tone was full of undisguised gloating. "Aren't you going to arrest Lu Hongling?" Wan Qiqi asked. Shi Jinghong is well informed. She found out that Lu Hongling was pregnant before marriage, so she took people to the hospital to arrest her. Lu Chunchao was there, and she tried her best to stop them. Shi Jinghong gave her two choices, either take Lu Hongba away or Lu Hongling. Lu Chunchao chose Lu Hongba. "You are a big sister who really loves her daughter." Wan Qiqi suddenly felt that Lu Chunchao was a little bit cute. At least she didn't favor boys over girls. She could only choose Lu Hongba. Lu Hongling had just finished the operation. If she was taken away, her life would be in danger. As soon as Lu Hongba was taken away, she called the old man and cried and asked him to save her. "Your father can't be saved this time. There is solid evidence that Lu Hongling is a hooligan, and Shi Jinghong will be crazy for a while. He has to find someone to vent his anger." Wan Qiqi said with certainty. With so many treasures lost, and the little notebook that could take Shi Jinghong's life, he would definitely go crazy. And she was also planning to visit Shi Xiaojun to comfort him. That rascal who had harmed her original body in the previous life was also responsible. First, let Shi Jinghong and Lu Dixing fight each other. After both were defeated, she would release the little notebook and kill Shi Jinghong. Lu Yi did not ask any further questions. Since Wan Qiqi said so, she must be very sure, and there was no need to ask. And he suspected that Shi Jinghong's going to the hospital to arrest Lu Hongling might have something to do with Qiqi. "I found you a temporary job in the winery as an office clerk. You will be promoted to a regular employee in 3 months. After we get married, you can go to work." Lu Yi told another good news. Although he came to the Wan family, it was impossible for him to really live in the countryside, and it was even more impossible for him to live apart from his wife, so he had been looking for a job for Wan Qiqi these days. "The winery in Heshi?" Wan Qiqi asked. "There is a winery in Heshi, which is very famous because the water for making wine comes from an ancient well with excellent water quality. The wine brewed here is of top quality and has been very famous since the Tang dynasty." Du Fu has a poem that says, "Drunk on Changsha wine at night, walking in the spring of Xiang River in the morning." Changsha wine refers to the wine brewed with the water from this well. It has a mellow taste, similar to Maodai, and is a famous wine in Tanzhou City. It is said that the chairman loves to drink it very much and has even been to a state banquet. Yes, one of the old man's subordinates transferred to the winery and is now the deputy director. Lu Chunchao and his wife also work in the winery. She is in charge of the grain depot and her husband is in the security department. Lu Yi did not hide the fact that he was looking for the old man's relationship. He thought that the old man had so many people holding him back, and it was uncertain when he would fall, so he had to fully squeeze the old man's value and not let others get the upper hand. "The winery is good. It's settled. Gather at the gate of the compound at 7 o'clock in the evening. I'm leaving tomorrow and going to say goodbye to your father and stepmother." Wan Qiqi said with a smile. "You're not going back to the guest house?" "I have something to do. Time is very tight. She has to hurry." "Where are you now?" Lu Yi felt that what she was going to do was not a good thing, and the blood in his body suddenly boiled. "Don't meddle in women's affairs. See you at 7 o'clock. Wan Qiqi hung up the phone with a bang. She preferred to act alone and didn't like to bring people. Even Lu Yi couldn't do it. She thought it was troublesome. Lu Yi on the other end of the phone blinked and became more interested. The less he told him, the more he wanted to go with him. Even if he didn't say it, he would know. Lu Yi smiled slyly, stopped training the soldiers, and went straight to the battalion commander. "I have something to go out for, and the rest is up to you." "What are you going to do again?" I've helped you practice 3 times this week." The battalion commander was unhappy. His wife was making dumplings today, and he wanted to go home early to eat dumplings.
What do you mean you help me?
It was originally your job. You are the battalion commander, and I am the deputy battalion commander. When I came to be the deputy battalion commander, I told you a long time ago that I didn't have time to train the soldiers, and you agreed. Recently, I happened to be free, so I was kind enough to help you lead the troops. How did it become my job? Tell me, whose job is it? Louis glared at him. He was a sly talker. After a round of brainwashing, the battalion commander was stunned by what he said. He couldn't think straight and said, "Mine."
Mine?
"Of course it's yours, Comrade Li Ming. You can't be lazy. The chairman said that we must become a noble person, a pure person, a moral person, a person who is free from vulgarity, and a person who is beneficial to the people. Comrade Li Ming, you have a long way to go." Louis patted the battalion commander heavily on the shoulder and recited the quotations from the emperor with earnest words. He had been reciting the quotations from the emperor whenever he had free time recently, and he had memorized them by heart. No matter what the problem was, as long as he could recite a few sentences from the quotations, he could immediately make a big thing small, or a small thing nothing, and solve it easily. It turned out that his chi was really smart, and his ideas were always useful. The battalion commander was so ashamed that he couldn't even straighten his back. He said shamelessly, I'm sorry to the people. I'm going to train now. Go ahead, I believe in you. You will definitely become a good comrade of the people." Louis clapped his hands heavily again with an encouraging look in his eyes. The battalion commander went to train with his head held high. After walking a few steps, he seemed to have thought of something. He turned back suddenly and waved to Louis vigorously. His cheeks, which were tanned red like sorghum, looked particularly honest in the setting sun, and the expression of gratitude on his face was particularly sincere. Thanks to the teachings of Deputy Battalion Commander Liu, he was able to deeply realize his mistakes and correct them in time, so as not to make a big mistake. Deputy Battalion Commander Liu was his benefactor. Louis also waved a few times, and after watching the silly battalion commander leave, he shook his slightly sore arms and rode out on his bicycle to find his wife. As for where Wan Chichi was, he had his own way of finding out. After Liu Yi rode out of the barracks, he found a small ditch. He squatted on the shore and put his hand in the water. After a few minutes, he stood up.
Thanks.
Louis shook his hands a few times, wiped them on his body a few times, and rode his bike to find Wan Chichi. Louis remembered very clearly that when he was 2 years old, he was so hungry that he ran to the back mountain of the village. There was a deep pool on the back mountain. It was said that the pool had existed many years ago. The old people in the village also said that there was a dragon trapped in the pool, so the pool was named Kunlongtan. Kunlongtan is so deep that you can't see the bottom. It doesn't rise during floods and doesn't dry up during droughts. The water level of the pool has never changed. The water in the pool is sweet and delicious, and the water quality is excellent. Everyone in the village loves to go to the pool to drink water. There is also a kind of palm-sized fish in the pool which is very flexible and has very delicious meat, but it is difficult to catch. Liu Yi, who is dizzy with hunger, wanted to catch fish in the pool. But he never thought that even adults couldn't catch the fish. How could the 2-year-old boy possibly catch it? Not long after, he slipped into the pool. Louis still remembers the feeling at that time. He was not afraid at all when he fell into the pool. He even had a sense of relief that he was finally freed. He opened his arms, relaxed his body, and let the water submerge him. He sank to the bottom of the pool. The water was very cold, as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His hands and feet were frozen stiff, and he couldn't open his eyes. He didn't remember how long he had been under the water. He remembered that he seemed to have swallowed a bead, and then his body felt like it was on fire. He was in a world of ice and fire at the time, and it seemed like something was growing inside his body, and his blood vessels were about to burst. He passed out from the pain, and didn't know how long he slept at the bottom of the pool. When he woke up, he was already floating on the water. His hands were. He also caught a few fish, which were the fish that were extremely difficult to catch in the pond. However, they were very obedient in his hands and did not move at all. Since then, Lu Yi often went to the back mountain to catch fish to eat. He could easily catch the fish that others could not catch after a long time of effort. The pond fish were very delicious and did not need any seasoning. They were delicious just by simply roasting them. Thanks to these fish, he did not starve to death. Moreover, Lu Yi discovered that not only the fish in the pond were particularly obedient, but also the fish in other rivers and ponds. As long as he went to catch fish, the fish would come over obediently and let him catch them, and he would return with a full load every time. Slowly, he discovered that he could communicate with water. The water in the river, the pond, the spring water in the mountain, and the water in the well could all tell him something, but the information he got was the information was very messy and not very helpful to him. It was only in the past 2 years that he gradually mastered the rules, could communicate with water effectively, and could turn water into a weapon. Relying on this ability, he could make meritorious deeds one after another and escape danger. It was already dark, and Wan Qiqi had arrived at the Shi family. The Shi family lived in a single-family house, a 2-story building. The 3 words in mansion could still be vaguely recognized at the door. Obviously, the previous owner of this house was surnamed In. No one knew whether he was dead or escaped. As the deputy director, Shi Jingheng occupied the entire house. It was now dinner time, and the smell of food wafted from the Shi family, which was very tempting. Wan Qiqi had already entered the Shi family's backyard and planted some vegetables, as well as a few fruit trees, full of red and pink flowers, which looked like pear trees and peach trees, as well as plum trees and orange trees. Xiaojun, it's time to eat. Shi's mother shouted upstairs. No more eating. After a long time, Shi Xiaojun replied with a bad tone. How can I not eat? Man is iron and rice is steel. I will be hungry if I don't eat. If you starve, I will be heartbroken. I have a good news to tell you. Your father just called and said that Lu Hongba, the little rascal, was taken to the farm. Your father will definitely kill him to vent your anger. Shimu took out a big bowl, filled it with rice, picked up a mountain of dishes, and carried it to her son's room. Wan Qiqi, who was hiding behind the door, swallowed hard. Although this old woman was not a good person, her cooking skills were really good. The dishes she cooked were delicious, and they were all her favorites. Fried bacon with green garlic, scrambled eggs with grandma's vegetables, steamed cured fish, stir-fried vegetable moss. Each dish was delicious. There was no one downstairs. Wan Qiqi was about to put away all the food, but was grabbed by someone. She reacted very quickly and elbowed, but was restrained. There was also a chuckle, and she recognized it was Lu Yi. How do you know I'm here? Wan Qiqi was very curious. There was no surveillance in the city now, so how did Lu Yi know? I calculated it. Lu Yi smiled, and Wan Qiqi didn't believe a word he said. Maybe this is his golden finger? Xiaojun, eat more, and go downstairs to get more when you're done. The voice of Shi Mu came from upstairs, and there was also a sound of people coming downstairs. Soon, Shi Mu came downstairs. Lu Yi sneaked up behind her like a ghost, and hit her hard with his hand, and Shi Mu fainted on the ground. How about eating first? Lu Yi also saw the sumptuous dishes on the table, and his mouth was full of saliva. They were all his favorite dishes. Go and knock Shi Xiaojun out. Wan Qiqi also felt that they should eat first, and let Lu Yi knock someone out so as not to affect their eating. Lu Yi moved quickly and came down in a few minutes with a big bowl of rice in his hand. Shi Xiaojun was knocked out by him before he had time to eat. The two of them ate with relish and finished all the dinner of the Shi family, not even leaving any rice crust. Burp, the two of them burped in unison. Wan Qiqi took out a packet of aphrodisiac powder from his pocket. The instructions said that the effect was amazing. A thin dog could turn into a bull, and Shi Xiaojun would definitely be full of energy quickly. For breeding? Lu Yi looked at the powder curiously. Yes, for breeding cattle. Wan Qiqi nodded. Lu Yi's mouth twitched, and he sympathized with Shi Xiaojun for 3 seconds. Go out first, and don't disturb me while I work. Wan Qiqi pushed him away with disgust. She just wanted to enjoy the sense of accomplishment of doing bad things alone, and didn't want to share it with others at all. Call me if you need anything. Lu Yi went out obediently. Wan Qiqi went to the second floor, poured a large bag of medicine powder into Shi Xiaojun's mouth, and also poured water into it. Then she rummaged through the boxes in Shi's house and got a lot of money. More than 1,000 yuan in cash, 500 kilograms of food coupons, meat coupons, cloth coupons, etc. In the box in the master bedroom, she also found a few pieces of cashmere cloth, Dacron cloth, and a few kilograms of wool, all of which were good things nowadays. Wan Qiqi was like a locust passing through, leaving none behind. She also took the electrical appliances. She didn't mind that they were old, and she would sell them on the black market later. The kitchen was full of cured fish, cured meat, sausages, cured ribs, and cured pig's trotters, and there was a lot of rice, flour, and oil. Wan Qiqi took them all, not even the iron pot. Now you need industrial coupons to buy an iron pot. It is a good thing, and you can sell it if you don't need it. Wan Qiqi looked at the much emptier house with satisfaction, clapped her hands, went to the kitchen to get a basin of cold water, and poured it on Shi's mother.
Ouch.
Shi's mother screamed and woke up. She looked around absent-mindedly, then ran upstairs and saw her unconscious son and screamed. Xiaojun, wake up quickly, my son. Don't scare your mother. Shi's mother cried, as if her son had died. Not long after, she screamed again, Xiaojun, I'm your mother. What are you doing? Are you possessed by evil spirits? A few minutes later, Shi's mother rolled downstairs. Her hair was messed up, and her clothes were torn. She cried and shouted that she wanted to call Shi Jinghong to come back quickly, saying that her son was possessed by evil spirits. Then, Shi Xiaojun also ran downstairs. His red eyes were straight, like a bull in heat, and he rushed to the street frantically. Wan Qiqi and Lu Yi followed behind. There were quite a few people on the street at this time, all of whom came out for a walk after dinner to digest their food.
Ah.
Beat you to death, you rascal. You dare to tease me. My son is older than you. The aunt cursed with full of energy and strength, grabbing Shi Xiaojun's hair and punching him with all her might. Shi Xiaojun hugged her tightly, refusing to let go, and arched against the aunt's neck, which made the aunt very angry, and she punched and kicked him. Naughty you! Let my mother go! A powerful roar sounded, and then a strong and sturdy man rushed over. He grabbed Shi Xiaojun's hair with his big hand like a palm leaf fan and swung it hard. Shi Xiaojun, who was thin, was thrown to the ground like a kite with a broken string.
Smell.
Let me smell it. Shi Xiaojun hit the ground heavily, as if he didn't feel any pain. He had a lewd smile on his face, and his mouth was dirty. The middle-aged woman was ashamed and angry. She took off her shoes, bent down, and hit Shi Xiaojun indiscriminately. Her son was even angrier. He took his mother out for a walk. Halfway through, he had to urgently, so he found a place to relieve himself. It was only 2 or 3 minutes, and his mother was bullied by a stinky hooligan. Why don't you go yourself? Beat you to death, you thing worse than a pig or a dog. The son cursed and kicked with a hateful expression. The onlookers pointed at Shi Xiaojun on the ground with contempt. It was dark, and no one recognized Shi Xiaojun. They were still yelling at the son to hit him harder.
Naughty.
The son was furious, his eyes turned red, and he kept cursing naughty. His mother is here if you want to be mad at her. Hurry up. Wan Qiqi, who was watching the excitement from afar, saw Shi's mother running over with disheveled hair and pinched her nose and shouted, This gangster just mad at his mother. Everyone, hurry up. Lu Yi also pinched his nose and shouted. In the silent night, their voices sounded particularly harsh, especially such fierce words. Everyone was stunned, including the angry mother and son. Everyone raised their heads, looking for the person who was talking, and Shi Xiaojun's mother. It was at this time that Shi's mother ran over. She looked really indecent at this time, with her collar torn and her hair disheveled. She looked really suspicious. Xiaojun? My child. Why do you hit my child? Seeing her son covered in wounds on the ground, Shi's mother was heartbroken. She rushed over in grief and anger, protected her son, and questioned everyone angrily. Although Shi Xiaojun was covered in wounds at this time, the drug was more powerful. He had completely lost his mind and just wanted to do what Adam and Eve loved to do.
Xiang.
Xiang xiang. Shi Xiaojun hugged Shi's mother tightly. His mouth was dirty and his hands were restless. Xiaojun, I'm your mother. You are possessed. Shi's mother was anxious and embarrassed and pushed hard, but she was not as strong as Shi Xiaojun, and she couldn't push him away after several attempts. Seeing that things were about to develop in an uncontrollable direction, the enthusiastic onlookers finally reacted and hurriedly rescued Shi's mother. Everyone's eyes were full of contempt. They were simply worse than animals. No wonder they dared to act like hooligans on the street, and they didn't know what was going on at home. Xiaojun has been possessed by an evil spirit. He is not like this usually. He has really been possessed by an evil spirit. Shi's mother did not bother to tidy up her clothes and was anxious to explain to her son. The people's expressions became strange and no one responded. They had already recognized Shi's mother, and the Shi family could not afford to offend her. Do you still need to find a witch to exorcise the evil spirit for your son? Someone suddenly asked. Shi's mother nodded subconsciously in a daze and asked anxiously, Do you know where to find a witch? Everyone's face changed drastically and looked at the person asking the question. He was a young soldier with an imposing demeanor, sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes, extraordinary heroic spirit, and really good-looking. As a family member of Deputy Director Shi, you actually take the lead in promoting the feudal superstitions of the old society. How unreasonable! Lu Yi reprimanded righteously, and the people around nodded. Most of them were gloating. Shi's mother and Shi Xiaojun have been bullying people for years, and they don't have a good relationship with any of the neighbors. Everyone hopes that the Shi family will be in trouble. Xiang 1. Shi Xiaojun was still under the effect of the drug. He rolled around on the ground, still swearing. Lu Yi glanced at him, frowned, and said with disgust, The world is really going downhill. Deputy Director Shi's family members actually disregard human ethics. It's outrageous. Who will notify the tail-cutting society and take the mother and son away for reform? I'll go. Wan Qiqi raised her hand actively. She was in the crowd, looking at Lu Yi from a distance, winking at each other, and happily went to call people. My wife is a member of the tail-cutting society. My son is sick, and I was anxious and confused. Don't talk nonsense, young man. I recite quotations every day and remember the chairman's teachings. I absolutely do not promote feudal superstition. Shirmu finally came to her senses and argued loudly, even bringing up her husband's identity. Sure enough, the onlookers all stepped back and a few people dispersed, not wanting to get involved. Shirmu looked proud. In Tanzhou City, no one dared to offend her family, and offending her man would not end well. But after more than 10 minutes, she was no longer proud. Because Wan Qiqi brought her man's mortal enemy, Zheng Adong, the director of the Cut Tail Society. Although Zheng Adong was the director, he was not as reliable as Shi Jinghong, so when he started his work, he is always at a disadvantage. If Shi Jinghong's education level was not too low and his experience was too shallow, he would have been pulled down long ago. However, Zheng Adong is not easy to mess with. Although he does not have a strong backer, he has a lot of experience and good ability. He also has a group of loyal confidants in the Cut Tail Society. He and Shi Jinghong have been fighting for several years. On the surface, he is at a disadvantage, but in fact, they are evenly matched. Wan Qiqi had long heard about the grievances between Zheng Adong and Shi Jinghong from the camphor trees in the office building of the Cut Tail Society. Before she went to Shi's house, she threw a note to Zheng Aidong's office. Don't leave work. There will be a big show tonight that will make your wish come true. The note read. Sure enough, when Wan Qiqi rushed over to call for help, Zheng Aidong was waiting in the office, and several of his loyal subordinates were there too. It's terrible. Deputy Director Shi's son is a hooligan on the street, and Deputy Director Shi's wife is promoting feudal superstition on the street. Wan Qiqi ran over and yelled. Zheng Aidong's body was lifted up, and then he was ecstatic. The mysterious man who threw the note did not lie to him. He gathered a few men and rushed over in a mighty and arrogant manner. The office building of the Cutting Tail Society was only separated from the Sher family by a street, and it could be reached in 10 minutes on foot. Who was being a hooligan? Who was spreading feudal superstition? Zheng Adong shouted loudly. His narrow and gloomy eyes swept over Sher Mu and Sher Xiaojun, who was twisting on the ground, and he almost laughed out loud. It turned out to be Sher Jinghong's wife and son, and God helped him. Lu Yi pointed at Sher Mu and Sher Xiaojun and repeated the whole story in a righteous manner. I really didn't expect that the social atmosphere in Tanzhou City would be so chaotic. The world is bright and clear, in broad daylight, but, oh, I can't even say it. It's such a disgrace to Tanzhou City. Director Zheng, please be sure to strictly teach these two people with serious ideological problems, and they must correct their crooked thoughts. Lu Yi showed his ID, and Zheng Aidong's attitude immediately became much more respectful. Don't worry, we will definitely teach them strictly and dig out the cancer in their minds. Uproot it. Zheng Aidong promised, but he was thinking in his heart that he wished to eradicate the Sher family completely and not leave a single one alive. Director Zheng is a good comrade who is dedicated to the people. I believe you will handle it fairly and impartially. Lu Yi spoke in Mo Qiufeng's tone, full of official rhetoric. Zheng Aidong was stunned by the fright and secretly thought that he became the deputy battalion commander at such a young age. He really has some skills, and his speaking level is high. My man is Sher Jinghong, Zheng Aidong. Don't you recognize me? Sher's mother asked several times, but Zheng Aidong ignored her and signaled his men to take the mother and son away. Zheng Aidong, you are taking revenge on your own. You will not die well. Sher's mother's scolding could be heard from a distance. Zheng Aidong and his group took Sher Xiaojun and his son away. I guess they will work overtime to teach the mother and son tonight. Sher Jinghong, who didn't know that the backyard of his house was on fire, was also working overtime to teach Lu Hongba. Under his strict teaching, Lu Hongba, who had lost too much blood, became dying and only had half his life left. Director Sher, if you go on like this, I'm afraid this kid won't be able to hold on. If he dies on the farm, we will completely offend Lu Disheng. Sher Jinghong's military advisor came over and whispered a suggestion. Lu Hongba was lying on the ground dying. He was taken directly from the hospital to the farm. The wound on his ace had not healed yet, but it split on the way. He was bleeding all the way. People who didn't know would think he had a miscarriage. After arriving at the farm, Sher Jinghong tried all the ways that the tail-cutting society used to punish people on him one by one. It took nearly 2 hours. It was because his men were concerned about Lu Disheng that they didn't attack too hard, otherwise Lu Hongba would have died long ago. Would I be afraid of Lu Disheng? Sher Jinghong shouted with his neck stiff, looking very unconvinced. You have third brother to protect you. Of course you don't need to be afraid. What I mean is, it's not worth it for third brother to waste his time on a small person like Lu Hongba. Third brother wants to do big things for you. Don't you agree? The military advisor chose his words carefully. Sher Jinghong was ambitious, moody, greedy, brave, but not wise. However, the biggest advantage of this guy was that he was easy to control. He had no background and no backing, but he had thrived over the years by giving advice to Sher Jinghong, and his family had a good life. He wanted Sher Jinghong to be the director more than anyone else. Zheng Aidong was not as easy to fool as Sher Jinghong. Sher Jinghong thought about it and felt that it made sense. A small figure like Lu Hongba was really not worthy of the third brother's intervention. Never mind, let's save this kid's life. Lock up this stinky rascal and assign him to the hardest work tomorrow to reform him. Sher Jinghong explained in a stern voice, and the farm leader responded in a meek manner, complaining in his heart. Lu Hongba was the grandson of Commander Lu, and he was just a small farm leader. How could he afford to offend him? It was really a fight between gods, and the little devil suffered, alas. After Sher Jinghong and his gang left, the farm leader sent someone to send Lu Hongba to the infirmary. After his injuries were treated, he was arranged to rest, and he also said some nice words in front of Lu Hongba, meaning that he had no choice but to do it, and asked Lu Hongba not to hate him. Lu Hongba was already in so much pain that he was unconscious. Ever since he was stabbed in the ace in the restaurant that day, his life became dark and he didn't live like a human being for a single day. What made him saddest was that his own mother actually pushed him out to take the blame for his elder sister. Shi Jinghong originally arrested his elder sister, who had nothing to do with him, but he was stabbed by the person he loved most. Lu Hongba's heart was broken. His mood was very complicated now, with hatred, resentment, and pain, but no love. If Ran Qiqi was in front of him, she would definitely give him a nickname Niu Hu Lu Hongba. Shi Jinghong returned to the city from the farm with great pride. He did not go back to the office building and asked the driver to drive directly home. The lights were on at home, which seemed particularly warm at night. Shi Jinghong got off the car in a particularly good mood. He wanted to tell his son about Lu Hongba's miserable situation and make his son happy. "I'm back. How is Xiaojun?" Shi Jinghong changed his shoes at the door and asked loudly. Usually at this time, his wife would watch TV on the first floor and knit a sweater by the way. "Are you deaf? Didn't you hear what I asked you?" Shi Jinghong asked twice, but got no response from his wife. He suddenly became angry and walked into the house with a dark face, without changing his shoes. He saw an empty living room. The food on the table had been eaten cleanly, but the dishes had not been put away. He frowned. His wife loved cleanliness the most. She would clean up the dishes and the kitchen immediately after dinner. The TV was gone, and a half-knitted sweater was on the sofa, but his wife was not there. After all, he had worked in the tail-cutting society for many years. Shi Jinghong immediately became alert. He picked up a shoulder pole behind the door and went to the kitchen first. No one. Nothing was left. Shi Jinghong blinked, thinking he was dazzled. It was as if bandits had been in the kitchen, and even the pots were taken away. There was not a single piece of the bacon, fish, and sausages hanging on the wall. Not to mention the rice, flour, and oil, even the salt jar was gone. "Nick, you are such a fool who gave birth to a son. Someone died in your family, and you're short of salt, right?" Shi Jinghong cursed and went upstairs, but still didn't see anyone. He was also rummaged through all his boxes and cabinets, and even his newly made woolen coat was gone. Shi Jinghong cursed even more, but he was not panicked because he didn't care about the little stuff at home. The big head was in his treasure room. At this time, he was very proud. Fortunately, he had foresight and hid most of the property, and no one could find it. Shi Jinghong searched everywhere, more ruthlessly than the bandits entering the village. He even removed the door panels of his house, and his wife's dowry box was missing. He had never seen such a poor thief. After searching for a while and not finding anyone, Shi Jinghong felt a little uneasy, and then he heard someone downstairs shouting, "Director, something happened." It was his driver. "What are you yelling for? Is the sky falling?" Shi Jinghong went downstairs and shouted, "Director, your wife and son were arrested by Director Zheng. They said that Xiaojun was a hooligan in the street, and the target of the hooliganism was your wife. In addition, your wife was promoting feudal superstition in the street, and many people saw it." The driver said in embarrassment. He just got back to the unit when he heard such explosive news. He hadn't digested it all the way when he drove here. He understood every word, but why couldn't he understand it when it was put into a sentence? "Jing Adong, I hate you," Shi Jinghong shouted angrily, his voice resounding through the sky. The driver was frightened and turned his head away aggrievedly. Leaders always like to set fires themselves and don't allow their subordinates to light lamps. It's really unfair. Shi Jinghong rushed back in a hurry and asked the driver to pick up other people. He was going to have a big fight with Jing Adong tonight. He even dared to arrest his wife and son. He was impatient with his work. Although he was furious, Shi Jinghong still kept his temper and went back to the office to wait for people. He was definitely not as good as Jing Adong alone, so he would wait until his men came together before doing it. It's just. Shi Jinghong saw the cut padlock, and his heart suddenly sank. He quickly opened the drawer, and his eyes suddenly went dark. The paintings and calligraphy disappeared, as well as the loose change and food coupons he had put there. He suddenly thought of the treasure hiding place, and a strong sense of uneasiness surged in his heart, but he comforted himself that nothing would happen. Even his wife didn't know about that place, and the thief would definitely not be able to find it. But he still felt uneasy. If he didn't see it with his own eyes, he might not be able to sleep well. So Shi Jinghong asked the driver to take him to the vicinity of the treasure hiding place. He also deliberately took a detour just in case someone knew about it. Then he ran to the house panting and saw the intact padlock on the door, and he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He knew it was okay. Now that he was here, Shi Jinghong was going to see the treasure before leaving. He opened the door, entered the house, and turned on the light, and saw the empty living room, without even a stool left. The style of stealing things was exactly the same as the